Citi Field in New York, the New York Mets play the Los Angeles Dodgers. Friday Night Baseball on SNY is brought to you by Time Warner Cable. The Mets are back in town for the first time since the All-Star break, coming home looking for better times in their home ballpark. Have a pleasant good evening, everybody, and welcome to Citi Field. Gary Cohen, Ron Darling, Keith Hernandez with you tonight as the Mets open a 3-game series against the Los Angeles Dodgers. The Mets limped out of the All-Star break with a 1-5 road trip, finally got themselves a win in Washington yesterday. But coming home for the first time since the All-Star break, it's got to be awfully satisfying for a team to come to their home ballpark and think of better times ahead.
Well, it was such a big win the other day. David Wright, of course, with the 2 home runs. You always got to make hay at home. This has been a ball club that's been very resilient. They've always managed to bounce back. But the schedule is getting tough right now. They got a tough road trip ahead. You got a homestand here right now. Don't look ahead. You're playing in front of the home folks. You've been on the road for a while. I take it one day at a time. I don't want to see, gosh, we got to win 5 out of 6 in this homestand. You know, they could have been coming back, limping back, 9 back. That was such a huge win, and they would have been at 500. So now, optimism forward. You got Santana out there. Get it off on the right foot.
Mets will get their rematch with the Nationals later in the homestand, but tonight it's the Dodgers, whom the Mets beat 3 out of 4 at the end of June. But it's a kind of a different Dodger lineup they're facing now.
Well, it really is. They didn't have any of their starters then. Everyone talks about Matt Kemp, of course, who has MVP numbers, it seems, every single year, and you can see how they play without him and with him. I think Andre Ethier, to tell you the truth, is one of the most underrated RBI guys in the National League. And also, don't forget about Mark Ellis, who's a very accomplished second baseman.
On the mound tonight, Johan Santana, and Johan has had a couple of rough outings back-to-back trying to get back on the beam tonight.
You know, to go along with Keith's theme, I think the key is that if you are going to play well as the Mets this year, you got to get great starting pitching. R.A. Dickey was fantastic, but you got a couple of it up. Get 2, 3, 4, 5 in a row, and Santana's going to do that tonight.
On the other side, a guy the Mets have had a habit of beating up over the years, and that's Aaron Harang.
Well, 9 starts, ERA well over 6, but he has won 101 ball games, and his guy's approaching 1,500 strikeouts in his career.
So the Mets start their homestand tonight at Citi Field. The rains have stopped. Game is ready to start on time. Mets and Dodgers, all the action coming your way tonight, right here on SNY. Time Warner Cable. Enjoy all the things you love better. TV, internet, and home phone from Time Warner Cable. By your Mercedes-Benz Tri-State dealers. Visit them on the web at searchmercedes.com. By AT&T, rethink possible. By Parts Authority, Auto Parts Superstores, where the answer is always yes. By the new summer barbecue menu at Burger King. Let's have a barbecue today. And by Kia Motors. Tickets for the soccer match at Citi Field featuring the national teams from Ecuador and their South American rival Chile on Wednesday, August 15th at 8 p.m. are on sale now. Call 718-507-TIXX or visit tickets.com now for your tickets. Here's your Subway Mets upcoming schedule. You can listen to all Mets games on Sports Radio 66 WFAN. Day games the next 2 days, both over on Pix 11, back on SNY Monday night for the opener of the series with the Nationals. 2 night games and a noontime start against the Nats, and then an 11-game road trip for the Mets out to the West. That starts with 4 in Arizona next Thursday night. Mets trying to shake their way to a victory tonight against the Dodgers. First pitch from Citi Field is coming right up. Bob's Discount Furniture, proud to be the furniture store of the New York Mets. Yeah, Mets manager Terry Collins hanging out with a former Mets and Yankees skipper, Joe Torre, in the ballpark tonight. Nice to see Joe back with Major League Baseball after a brief hiatus. And one of his mentees, Don Mattingly, got off to a great start this year with the Dodgers, but things have gone backwards for LA. They've lost 19 of their last 26. Here's their Ford starting lineup tonight. Mattingly very happy to be able to put Ellis, Kemp, and Ethier in those 2, 3, and 4 spots. That should help, although they haven't played a whole lot better since those guys have been back. 38-year-old Bobby Abreu recently plugged into the leadoff spot. journeyman Luis Cruz playing shortstop these days with Deke Gordon on the disabled list with a thumb injury.
You know, whenever you have a pitcher struggling, it doesn't matter if it's Johan Santana. It's fastball command. He has not been able to command that fastball, and he's been throwing too many balls in the middle of the plate. That's to be different today.
We'll take a look at the Lexus New York Metropolitan defense, and you can see right there Torres in center field. This is Andres 47th start in center. Jason Bay in left field is 25th. Everybody else has been in there pretty much every day. Here's Andres.
So Keith, how'd you enjoy the world's longest All-Star break?
I must say it was delightful. I had my daughters in, my two youngest daughters, Mary and Melissa, for 5 days. They stayed at the house. They flew in from California and St. Louis, so it was wonderful. It was hot. I watched the games. I was very impressed with both your work. Very impressed.
Well, we knew you were watching the one day when you were texting both of us in the middle of the game. We didn't know about the other 5 games. Johan Santana looking to shake off the effect of back-to-back starts, allowing 6 earned runs or more. First time he's done that in back-to-back appearances since his second and third starts in the big leagues with the Twins back in 2000. It's a long time ago. Santana got victimized by a little questionable umpiring in his last start in Atlanta. Was smoothing along through 4 innings before a 6-run inning grabbed him. Bobby Abreu leads things off for the Dodgers. Abreu, who was let go by the Angels earlier this year, now batting leadoff for the other LA team, and he takes the first pitch high for ball 1. Abreu hitting .251 overall. He's now 38 years old. Mark Ellis on deck. He's 35 years old. This is a Dodger lineup with a lot of older players in it tonight. You got Abreu at 38, Ellis at 35, Jerry Hairston Jr. at 36, and Matt Trainer at 36, and that's without even talking about the starting pitcher Harang, who's 34. 1-1 to Abreu, who's 3 for 8 lifetime against Santana. And the changeup dribbled, and it's a foul ball. Totally pouncing on it just in case it stayed fair. Jim Reynolds, the home plate umpire, right on top of it, calling it foul. Reynolds calling the balls and strikes tonight. James Hoy, Jim Joyce. It's a 3 James or Jim umpiring crew. Mike DeMuro, the lone holdout, he's at third. 64 degrees at game time tonight. Kind of a change from the last few days, wouldn't you say?
Slightly.
Yesterday was 88. The day before 99 in Washington. Grounded to the hole, and Tejada with a diving stop gets to his feet but has no play. And Abreu has an infield hit to open the game. Tejada shaded toward the middle. And despite the nice stop, no chance to get Abreu.
Well, Ruben just continues to flash the leather, and he made a terrific play on that road trip. That long, strong throw, that Jeter-like play. That was so impressive. And not so much the leap, but the strength of the arm from the hole. It was so impressive.
So here's Mark Ellis, who missed 43 games. He wasn't in the lineup when the Mets went to L.A. He had a leg surgery necessitated by a strange problem that nearly caused him to lose that leg. Came awfully close to that, but they were able to relieve the pressure in the leg and correct the problem. And after missing a month and a half, he's back in the lineup. Ellis, a guy who spent 10 years with the Oakland Athletics, very steady, solid player. Played part of last year in Colorado before coming to the Dodgers this year. And the changeup missing up and away. 2 balls and no strikes.
You know, this is a big different look than that Dodger team. Just with the first 2 hitters. Abreu was an on-base percentage guy. Ellis is the same. They'll take a lot of pitches.
Oh, the big difference is you got Ethier and Kemp in the lineup this time around.
That's right.
That's huge for the Dodgers.
So Santana struggling early, behind on Ellis 2-0. And he comes with the fastball, and it's fouled off 2-1.
Well, you're right about that, Ronnie. You know, you're talking about Santana not locating the fastball. That was right down the middle right there when he wanted to come inside. I know it's early, but it's something that fans at home could keep an eye on.
Well, when things are going wrong for Johan, probably the best tonic for him is face the Dodgers. 5 lifetime starts against LA, 5-0 with an ERA of 0.50. 8 scoreless against them in LA a couple of weeks ago. Abreu, not the base stealer he once was. He's stolen 4 this year.
Abreu always has that look like he just remembered it. Someone told him a joke about a half hour ago. I mean, he always has that bemused look.
Now at 2-1, Ellis takes inside, and Santana's fallen behind 3-1. Well, those are the lifetime numbers for Abreu, closing in on 400 steals for his career.
He's got 4 this year, caught once. He doesn't run like he used to. Very curious to see what Mattingly does, the manager of the Dodgers, if he sends him in motion. 3-1.
Totally setting up inside. Abreu runs, and Ellis fouls off the fastball, and it's 3-2.
Well, there's 2 things there. One, you can send Abreu because Ellis just handles the bat so well. Not a strikeout kind of guy. The one problem, though, is that Kemp and Ethier are in scoring position every time they come up. So I don't know if you want to run into an out.
Well, the Dodgers have had such trouble scoring runs, even since Kemp and Ethier came back. They finally won a game on Wednesday when Kemp hit a walk-off home run after the Dodgers fell behind by 2 runs in extra innings. They rallied against Jonathan Papelbon, and Kemp sent them home happy, but they had lost 4 in a row coming out of the break before that. He was running 3-1, and Abreu runs 3-2, and Ellis hits it out to center field, and Torres is there. Abreu scampers back. That's the first out of the night. So Ellis retired, 1 out and 1 on. The Dodgers are 3rd from the bottom in the National League in runs, and 2nd from the bottom in runs per game. So they have really had trouble scoring runs, even when Kemp and Ethier have been healthy.
Well, so much is dependent upon this man right here and the guy hitting behind him, Andre Ethier, in the on-deck circle. It's as good a 3-4 combination in baseball.
Kemp was the National League Player of the Month in April. I mean, he was the MVP of April.
Well, a lot of people think, and I'm one of them, that he was the MVP last year.
And it was almost as though he came out of the gate this year trying to prove that everybody was wrong in not voting him the MVP. That's what he did last year.
He had a terrific year, plays a great center field, big strong kid, can fly, and got a big contract in the offseason.
He hits one in the air to deep left center field. Forget it. Kemp getting a hold of one, and he hits it out of sight. A 2-run homer from Matt Kemp puts the Dodgers in front 2-0. Well, that's the difference he makes in that Dodger lineup. His 14th home run of the year, only his 2nd since the month of April. And just like that, LA jumps in front 2-0. It sounded like a cannon had gone off in the ballpark when Kemp swung the bat.
It sure did. That was as loud a crack of a bat I've heard at this stadium. And look how quick he is inside. He got it in there. He just turned. Oh, look at the take back. Very short. Beautiful balance.
No stride.
It's almost like a golf swing. No extra effort. Those are the ones you hit the longest. The furthest, I should say.
14th home run allowed by Santana this year, and so the Dodgers quickly in front 2-0. And here's Andre Ethier, who was on the sidelines with an oblique injury when the Mets were in LA. Ethier's 7th in the National League in RBIs with 59, and provides quite a 1A to Kemp's 1. Santana behind in this game early, after getting battered in his previous 2 starts by the Cubs and the Braves.
Well, before he went on the disabled list, he was in that lineup by himself with Kemp out, and Ethier was still driving in runs with no one around him.
Two balls and a strike to Ethier.
I watched this guy, Keith. He reminds me a little of you. He does.
You know, he's always been a guy that gets off to a hot start. He's got a beautiful swing, Ron. I'm not saying that it's like I had a beautiful swing. He shouldn't strike. He's had 73 strikeouts.
And he shoots one right over the third base bag and down the line. Ethier on his way to second as Bay plays it along the line. And so the Dodgers have their third hit of the inning, an opposite field double for Andre Ethier.
Well, when you hit the ball all over to all parts of the ballpark, the opposing team cannot put these extreme defensive shifts on you. And Ethier uses the whole field. Look at that. That ball's away. Just hit it right where it was pitched.
That's why I was saying it reminds me of you. He might have a little more pop than you have, but you were a better average hitter. But beautiful swing.
Now Juan Rivera, who's been getting more and more time at first base with James Loney struggling this year. Rivera hitting at .256 with 4 home runs. And Santana throws a strike. And Johan's just off right now.
Yeah, I saw this a bit. You know, great pitchers, when they come back to the pack just a little bit, sometimes some of the shine comes off. Do you know what I mean?
My concern, Ronnie, and you can chime in, is that when you see a guy like Kemp turn on an inside fastball and you see Ed Santana throwing 88, 87, does he have enough velocity to get inside on those right-hand hitters, the good ones?
Well, that is the whole thing. I think, does he have the ability to pinpoint? You know, there was a time when if he was 2-0, he would just throw it 95 and you couldn't catch up to it. Those are nice days.
Rivera pops one up and should be easy for Daniel Murphy. And that's the second out. But, you know, then you have that second strike he threw to Rivera. Totally sets up inside, and he misses on the opposite side of the plate, and that's just not Johan Santana.
Yeah, it's something you would never see. So I was talking about when the shine comes off a little bit of these great pitchers, then these guys who used to have sleepless nights the night before sleep soundly before the start. It's a whole different mindset.
Well, there's a big difference between 95 and 88.
Yeah.
That's a huge difference.
Here's Jerry Hairston Jr., who is hoping that his nightmare against Santana ends tonight. He's 0 for 18 in his career against Johan. Hairston has been a very important fill-in player for the Dodgers this year with all the injuries they've had. This is the 51st game he started at a variety of different positions. And Scott's older brother takes low and inside for ball 1.
Having himself a very good year at .291. He's hitting also .304 with runners in scoring position.
Luis Cruz, the shortstop, waiting on deck. The Dodgers start the night 2.5 games behind the Giants in the National League West and 2 games out of the second wild card spot. Good changeup by Santana, 1-1. Dodgers led that National League West at one point by 7 games early. They started out the year going 30-13 to begin the season, but that's a long time ago.
When the Giants started pounding that starting pitching every night.
Since that great start, the Dodgers are just 19-31. Hairston waits at a 1-1, and he drives one up the middle, a base hit. Around third comes Ethier, and he'll come in to score. An RBI single for Jerry Hairston Jr., and it's 3-0 LA.
Take a look at the pitch. They want the fastball in. Too much plate, Ronnie. Kind of bled out over the plate.
He didn't hit it hard. It was off the end of the bat, but still well placed. And with 2 outs, Ethier is going to get a great jump.
Well, for Santana, who threw 8 shutout innings against the Dodgers and allowed just 3 hits back on June the 30th, he's already given up 4 hits in the first inning tonight. Now Luis Cruz, who was called up on July the 2nd to replace D. Gordon, who tore up his thumb on a headfirst slide and is going to be out until at least late August.
It was on a steal against the Mets.
So Cruz with a chance to play. He's had some big league time with Pittsburgh and Milwaukee. 28 years old. He is almost out of the batter's box. You know, that front foot is on the restraining outside line of the batter's box.
You know, in the 80s, you would see some interesting stances, and this would be one of them. Totally open. Some of these guys are sold on having 2 eyes on the baseball.
Yeah. After this pitch, I'll make a comment. I think you have a dominant eye, and I think that my dominant eye was my right eye. So if my dominant eye was my left eye, the train of thought is to turn your. That's the hitter you want to have both eyes facing the pitcher.
Well, he is certainly facing the pitcher. Little dribbler, and Santana off the mound to play it. That'll end the inning, but a very productive first inning for the Dodgers. Matt Kemp with a 2-run homer, and the Dodgers put up 3 against Santana in the first. Daniel Murphy back in the lineup tonight, as well as Lucas Duda. Both sat against the lefty yesterday in Washington when the Mets put up 9 runs and 11 hits. Mets tonight will go up against Eric Harang, who they've had some success against.
Yeah, we talked about it in the open. 9 starts, his ERA's over 6. His best work was done in Cincinnati, where he routinely wins 16 and strike out over 200.
He's got 101 wins and 99 losses in his career. Ruben Tejada will lead things off for New York. Mets start the night on a 3-0 hole. Ruben hitting at .319 for the year, and he takes a strike from Harang.
And Ruben has just picked up where he left off in the first half. I tell you, on the road trip, he's just a tough out. His trouble is when he hits the ball in the air, but he's been very consistent, very tough strikeout.
Showed some signs of wear that last series in Washington.
Well, he was swinging,
and you worry about that.
Yeah, he was swinging at the first pitch and his first at bat. I mean, that call went against him. He could have called that ball down, but 0-2 hole, he has you right where he wants you. You know, I think when you are a player like Ruben, I'm not going to say a young player because there's no reason he shouldn't be able to play 150 games. It's not the physical part about it. It's sometimes you get into a mental block where you're just making some bad decisions at the plate. And that's the signs that you'll see that he's out of what he's done all season long.
Breaking ball hammered down to third, and Jerry Hairston can't corral it, and Tejada's aboard. Well, Hairston, who plays just about everywhere, had that ball come up on him, and he couldn't handle it. It'll be an error charge to Jerry Hairston.
Well, his mistake here, he stays in front, but no movement in, and he plays it into by his being planted into the ground, no movement forward. He plays the in-between hop. He had plenty of time either to back up and play the long hop or come in and get the short hop.
So the Mets get a break. A leadoff base runner, and now Daniel Murphy. Murph over the last 17 games hitting .375, but off to a slow start since the All-Star break.
Well, he went 4 for 20 on that road trip.
And like most of these Mets, he's done well against Harang. In fact, you look up and down the lineup, and some of the numbers, if you're Harang, have to be a little scary. David Wright's 11 for 20 against him.
Major damage all around, though.
Josh Thole 7 for 9. Jason Bay with 5 home runs against him. And Murphy takes inside. Murphy's numbers: 3 extra base hits and 8 at bats against Harang. We've talked a lot about David Wright's doubles this year. He's got 30 of them, the most a Met has ever had at this point in the season. Well, Murphy's got 25 doubles. He's in the top 10 in the league.
Well,
this takes off the plate 2-0.
This ballpark is, even though they brought the fences in, it's still it's a line drive hitter's park. And you know what? Murph's a line drive hitter, but David this year has been a line drive hitter.
If Murph's not going to hit home runs, then he better hit 30, 40 doubles.
Right, so now he's got 30 extra base hits despite the lack of home runs. Late swing foul, and it's 2-1.
Murph, as you saw that angle shot there from into the body from the low third base camera, very widespread with his feet, like a lot of hitters today. And you know, whatever, it doesn't really matter to me. I always feel that it locks your hips when you're that far apart. You've got to have freedom of those hips to rotate your trunk. But Murph does it well.
And he drives this one to left center field, headed toward the gap. Abreu can't make the play. Tejada on his way to third, and in at second with a double is Daniel Murphy, and the Mets have second and third and nobody out. You know, Abreu at age 38 doesn't move quite like he used to, and unable to corral that one.
Well, looked like he was running on eggshells there. Nice swing by Murph. He likes the ball away.
Yeah, he had that little tippy toe before the ball came down. He should have been in full stride, and he would have had a chance.
And he also misjudged the angle there.
And that's what happens when you have older players playing the outfield.
So a chance for the Mets to jump right back. David Wright, who had a huge day yesterday with a couple of homers and 5 RBIs. Bats with second and third and nobody out with the Mets down 3-0. And takes the big curveball for a strike, 0-1.
And a game that the Mets had to have. The last game in Washington, David Wright just stepped up to the plate, literally.
David now has 65 runs batted in, just 1 behind Carlos Beltran for the league lead. And Harang works him outside, a ball and a strike. You mentioned the numbers for David against Harang: 11 for 20 with a home run. Yesterday, his 18th multiple home run game, second only to Darryl Strawberry in Mets history. And he hits one in the air to left center field and deep. Back goes Abreu to the track. And right at the wall, he has room to make the catch. Avoids the bath. In to score comes Tejada. Sacrifice fly for David Wright. His 66th RBI, tying him for the National League lead. And it's now 3-1 LA.
Well, David just missed this one. No, I think it was a changeup, Ronnie. I think he took something off of this. Up over the middle. Just a little on the end, enough where it didn't get out of the park.
Deep enough that not only did it score Tejada, but it sent Murphy over to third.
Well, right now, Harang's going, I should be in the dugout. 1, 2, 3 inning.
Yeah.
Nonetheless, he's given up a couple of bullets. Now Ike Davis with the infield back, and he takes one at the knees for a strike.
And the Coors Light Dodger defense and hasn't been, well, there's the shining star right there in more ways than one, the 2-time Gold Glover. But the corner outfield positions aren't exactly stellar.
Although Andre Ethier's gone 272 straight games without an error, doesn't make you a Gold Glove outfielder. Lucas Duda waiting on deck.
Abreu grew up really playing most of his time in right field for Philadelphia.
At one time won a Gold Glove, but that's a long time ago. Davis socks one to right field. Playable for Ethier. Tagging at third, Murphy. And Murphy will come in to score. Sacrifice flies for White and Davis. And it's now 3-2 Los Angeles.
Well, Harang better start getting the ball down or he's going to be in for an early shower. And that was just missed by Ike. I think this one got in on him. Another changeup. Out in front, off the end of the bat.
You know, Keith and Gary, Terry Collins addressed the situational hitting and had to be much better. 2 sac flies there. Very good.
And for Ike, that's his 53rd RBI of the season.
So the Mets take full advantage of the opening error by Hairston. Played a pair on only 1 hit. And now Duda with 2 out and nobody on takes a strike.
Harang's changeup too looks like he's telegraphing it too, Ronnie. There's a little alteration in his point of release. That is not a good pitch for him.
Harang, who last year pitched with the Padres, his hometown team, before moving up the coast. Now 16 errors behind him, including a couple of his own.
Yeah.
And he throws the fastball by Duda, 1-2.
And Lucas has just really mired in a deep slump. Went into the All-Star break in a slump and 1 for 8 on the road trip. Got the hamstring.
Day would be next.
Harang and Los Angeles tried to get Lucas Duda out inside, sliders down, and then would throw that fastball at his hip that comes back over the plate. Lucas has got to be able to account for that tonight.
And that just missed. A full count to Duda. Not surprising for Duda, who is in the top 10 in the league in walks and the top 10 in the league in strikeouts. That's a lot of 3-2 counts. With 2 out and nobody on, the 3-2, and Duda pops it up. And Hairston called off by the shortstop Cruz, and that retires the side. But the Mets get a couple of unearned runs in the opening inning. 3-2 LA after 1. On the 20th of July, temperature in the low 60s. A lot of rain came through here earlier today. Mets and Dodgers in the opener of this 6-game homestand. Rain gear prepared. Matt Trainer leads off in the 2nd inning for the Dodgers and takes a strike. Trainer, the backup catcher to A.J. Ellis, just his 21st start this year. Longtime Florida Marlin, hitting at .213 for the season.
He gets the bulk of his playing time against left-handers. .294 with 2 home runs against lefties.
Pitcher Harang, never known for his bat, on deck. Bobby Abreu behind him. Santana trying to shake off a difficult first inning. And gets the changeup over for a strike, 1-2.
Now this is where Santana, after that changeup away, would pop that right-hander in and put him away. See if he can do it.
He goes up and away with the fastball to get Trainer for the first out. Now, he said something interesting in the first inning, Ronnie, as we look at this fastball to get Trainer.
He's trying to come in.
You talked about a pitcher maybe losing that luster a little bit as far as the hitters are concerned. What about as far as the pitcher is concerned?
Oh yeah, no, you start to you start to question yourself. You start to.
Ryan rolls one over to right, and an easy play for the second out.
I don't care who you are, how many Cy Youngs you've won. Coming off major surgery, didn't even know if you're going to be able to make the call this year, and then you get into it and you come after 2 starts where you've struggled. I don't care who you are, where you've been. You start to question, okay, wait a minute, are the hitters letting me know that I'm going to have to really change tactics here? That's the thing that's the hardest for any aging player, whether you're a hitter or a pitcher.
Here's Bobby Abreu, who reached on an infield hit and scored in the first. I asked Terry Collins today, we heard so much talk in Washington about Steven Strasburg and his innings limit coming back a couple of years after Tommy John surgery. And I said, Terry, has there been any discussion in the organization about any kind of innings limit for Santana this year, coming off major shoulder surgery that nobody's really fully come back from before? And he said no. He said there's been no talk about pitch limits. There's no talk about innings limits. It's strictly a matter of feel, and I thought that was interesting.
Well, there might not have been any talk about it, but the first month, extra days, pitching only 5 innings, so they were trying to limit some of his innings. That was all turned around on June 1st, and it kind of changed everything because of the 5 pitches or whatever it was. That changed everything. Whatever plan you had kind of went out the window, and then you gave him the 6, 7, 8 days off after that, and that kind of changed things because he was on quite a roll till then.
I mean, he's on a pace right now for somewhere around 190 plus innings after missing all of last year. And I know it's different for a young player like Strasburg, but you just wonder what you can expect from Johan the second half of this season.
Well, in some ways, you might even feel, well, here's the text poll first.
Verizon text poll: how would you rate Santana's overall performance this season? Exceeding, meeting, or below expectations? Text us at sny.tv or at 56812. And Abreu draws a walk, and so he's on with 2 out.
In some ways, Gary and Keith, when you have a Strasburg situation, what you're trying to do is get him that you take care of him in such a way that he becomes a $20 million pitcher. Well, with Santana, you lost a year of $20 million. You know what I mean?
Right.
You've lost a year.
He already is a $20 million pitcher.
And you need to get more out of him.
Strasburg pitching tonight against the Braves. Michael Morris is a 3-run homer against Tommy Hanson in that game. Strasburg's pitching tonight. That should mean he would pitch the Wednesday afternoon game against the Mets. Against Santana in the last game of that series. Here's Mark Ellis, and he takes a strike.
And Strasburg's getting very close to his ceiling on innings pitched. What are they going to do?
Well, he was at 105 coming into today.
Well, it's pretty funny. Kevin reported that their GM Rizzo said, well, it's around 160.
Right.
So
There goes Abreu, and it's in right through the hole. A hit-and-run hit for Mark Ellis. Abreu goes first to third. Perfectly executed. Murphy goes to cover, and Ellis hits it right through the vacated hole.
Well, I don't think you're going to hit and run with 2 outs. I just think it was with Abreu running, I would be very shocked.
You're right. He didn't look back.
He did not look back. He never hit and run with 2 outs, so it worked out well. It would have been a base hit anyway. I think that hole was open all the way, but normally you don't hit and run with 2 outs.
So the stage set for Matt Kemp with first and third and 2 out. Kemp blasted a 2-run homer his first time up, his 14th of the year. Abreu certainly seems like he's having a good time. Probably just happy to have a job these days after being let go by the Angels earlier this year.
Totally set up way outside.
You know, we've seen that the last week now. We've seen it because they were beaten by a pitch late in the game. And Josh is, I think, just fearful of having a pitch hit when they're trying to pitch around a guy.
Goes back to that Chipper Jones home run off Josh Edgen in Atlanta. And remember the next day he sat in that left-hand batter's box against Matt Diaz. There's a good changeup by Santana. And there he is again, halfway to the first base dugout, as he says.
Well, the problem in today's game, you're not going to get the call from the umpire when you sit outside of the strike zone. But
the days of the Braves staff and Eddie Perez are gone.
That's right, gone. So that's the pitch. You're not going to get that because he's sitting too far away.
The funny thing about it is, though, because the umpire's on the inside shoulder of the catcher, he's actually more over the plate than he normally is, the umpire.
He is, but the thing about it is Santana knows exactly what he's doing. Sit on the corners. He'll throw, and he knows that Kemp is a real priority.
Wow.
Well, he's gotten even on Kemp, 2-2.
But have you seen Santana? He's like, you know what? Fish ain't biting. I'm not throwing off the plate. I'm going after him.
It's also, he's not coming back inside this at bat. He's been staying on that outside corner.
I don't think a bad pitch would be something right at his belt buckle then, Keith, and then go 3-2 changeup.
I just think maybe he needs to throw what he's going to throw inside, miss 3 or 4 inches inside. You got to spot it in.
Problem is he hasn't been able to execute inside so far. And totally moves away again. 2-2, and he just got a piece of that to stay alive. It is very odd to watch, I have to say. Catcher setting up that far off the plate.
No, he wouldn't do that unless he was under strict orders. So, you know, it's not Josh's thing. I do think, though, Santana, you know, when a guy hits a home run off you on the inside corner of the plate, the next time up, you better come inside because you got to let him know, you know what? I don't care if he did that. I'm still coming in, but off the plate.
Otherwise, he might drive the ball over the right field fence. That's too high, and a full count to Kemp with Andre Ethier on deck. Well, one of the consequences of all this is that Santana's throwing a ton of pitches early in this game.
And if you pitch around Kemp, you got Ethier, RBI man.
So now Ellis will be in motion from first with 3-2 and 2 out. Abreu the runner at third. 3-2 coming to Matt Kemp with Tolley again off the plate. And the changeup misses high for ball 4. So the bases are loaded. Second walk of the inning for Santana. So Andre Ethier the batter.
Well, first at bat, Ethier got the double down the left field line as Dan Wharton comes out and has a chat at the mound with Santana in the infield. Beat him on the ball away down the left field line. Let's see how he attacks him this at bat.
You know, this is really shows the transformation or trying the changing of Santana. We're talking about a guy that we watched when he first came here, and Keith would comment on it all the time. Guys on base, he would go after them. That's in his makeup. Part of his DNA is to be aggressive and go after people. And now he's 180 degrees different, you know, trying to pitch around the strike zone. Hopefully someone will get himself out.
Abreu at third, Ellis at second, and Kemp at first with 2 down. The Dodgers scored 3 in the first. Mets got 2 unearned runs back in the bottom of the first, and now Santana trying to sidestep trouble in the second. And Ethier takes up and in for ball 1. Ethier skimmed a double between right and the third base bag in the opening inning. Juan Rivera would be next. Santana using the full windup with the bases loaded. And he misses again badly up and in. It's 2-0.
2 sliders for Santana. Just starting to turn that ball in his hand too early, not getting out in front, which can happen with your third pitch.
A pitch that's been of increasing value for him as this season has gone along, but not so far tonight. Now he comes with a fastball but misses away, and now he's behind Ethier 3-0. Santana's already walked 2 in the inning. Walked Abreu with 2 out and nobody on. And early warm-up action. Pedro Beato up in the Mets bullpen.
Swinging 3-0, Keith?
No.
Okay.
And that's ball 4, and it forces in a run. So Santana walks Ethier with the bases loaded. His 3rd walk of the inning. And the Dodgers now lead it 4-2.
Ronnie, what about the pitch selection there?
Yeah.
Change up 3-0?
3-0 change.
What does that tell you?
Well, pitching around Kemp, 3-0 change. Santana has the last 2 starts have he's taken a stand in 8 right now. That's what's happening.
Well, we addressed it earlier, and you brought it up about a pitcher having the luster taking off, and you mentioned how a pitcher feels when he's struggling the way he is, and clearly this is not the swaggering left-hander that we're used to seeing. So now Juan Rivera with the bases still loaded, and he takes a strike. Rivera popped up his first time up. I mean, this is a guy who is the gold standard. 139 big league wins, only 75 losses, 2 Cy Young awards. And just a month and a half ago, the author of the first no-hitter in Mets history. There's a fastball for a strike, and 0-2. Jerry Hairston Jr., who's not a left-hand hitter, would be next. Santana with a chance to get through this inning. 0-2 to Rivera, and he lines one down the left field line. Foul. Bullet off the bat of Rivera. And Santana lives to tell about it.
Not a good 0-2 pitch.
Wouldn't be a bad time, 0-2, to air Rivera out. Let everyone know that maybe this is going to stop here pretty soon, because I'm not taking it. No, I'm talking about hitting the batter at all. Just making it, get him off the plate.
Foley moves outside again, and he rolls over one down to third. Right can step on the bag, and that'll do it for the inning. Dodgers add a run on a bases loaded walk and lead 4-2 in the middle of the second. At 1:10 when the Mets host the Dodgers in the second game of this series. Visit Mets.com or call 718-507-TIXX for your tickets now. Miguel Batista gets the controversial start tomorrow afternoon against the former Met Chris Capuano. John Neese goes Sunday against Nathan Eovaldi. As you check out the city probables.
There's Cap. not controversial to Miguel.
No, certainly not. But there was certainly enough conversation about it, wasn't there?
Right.
Jason Bay leads off in the home second, takes a strike from Aaron Harang. Bay has 5 career home runs against Harang in 52 at bats, which matches his most against any pitcher. The only problem is he hasn't had a hit against Harang since 2008.
Yeah, they had to face each other a lot when Jason was in Pittsburgh in the NL Central. Harang and Cincinnati.
Ronnie, when you started a ball game and you had 2 innings like Harang's had, where his offense has been the first 2 innings up there for forever, you have a hard time finding a rhythm?
Well, you might have a hard time finding a rhythm, but you got to make sure you take care of it.
Bay gets under 1 to left, and Abreu circles it and wrestles it to a standstill.
Sorry, Gary. I was just saying to Keith that you know, that's what the pitcher's dream is, that your hitters are out there for 15, 20 minutes scoring runs and doing all those kind of things. You just you make sure that when you go out there to throw your practice pitches, they're with intent.
Here's Andres Torres, who had a very good road trip to start the second half. 10 hits and 21 at bats. Hit in all 6 games in Atlanta and Washington. What must he be thinking right now?
A million things.
I mean, one thing he knows for certain is he needs to give the Mets innings today, regardless of, you know, any of his personal performance issues right now. They've got a spot starter going tomorrow. Can't expect to get much more than 5 innings from Batista. Torres gets tied up and he went around 2-2.
You know, you're playing tricks with yourself. You're saying to yourself, God, you know, this is not how I pitch. And you know, you're talking to your pitching coach. I don't. That's not how I know how to go after hitters. I like to go after them, and now I'm not doing that. You start to say to yourself, hey, it's 4-2. I'm only losing by 2 runs. Hold them here and get a win.
Juan Rivera fields the ground ball, takes it to the bag. Torres retired for the second out. I guess the larger question right now, watching Santana these last few games, is he okay? I mean, is he physically all right? Because, you know, that long term is the more important question after the surgery that he went through.
I think the numbers are fine when I see the fastball where it's at 88, 89. That's what he's thrown all season long. I just think that, and Keith honestly hit on it. It was very interesting. He really slowed that changeup down in the last 3 innings against the Cardinals in that no-hitter. And I think that differential is going to be a key for him. And then the other thing is the ball down in the strike zone. If you don't throw a fastball down in the strike zone, you're not going to make them bite on the changeup down in the strike zone.
Josh Thole, who is a ridiculous 7 for 9 in his career against Aaron Harang, quickly in an 0-2 hole.
It's like you against Steve Trout, Keith.
But that was no day in the park. That was tough. I don't know. Don't ask me about those numbers, how I did it.
Should we ask Trout?
Because he was a little bit wild, too.
You could get some different answers from Disney.
Maybe. Just inside 2-2. Steve Trout, no relation to the most famous trout in the pond right now.
That's right.
Out in Anaheim. What a year he's putting together.
He's got a nice swing, that young man.
Full count to Thole with Santana on deck.
I like his swing better than his counterpart than Harper in Washington.
Thole's gone from 0-2 to 3-2, and he fouls one back.
Well, Josh, only 10 RBIs at the All-Star break. I got a couple big hits on this last road trip. They need to get some production out of that catching position.
And Thole goes down swinging on the fastball from Harang. First strikeout of the night for Harang. And a 4-2 Dodger lead after 2. We'll find out why he has a special interest in this year's Summer Olympics. Plus, get an in-depth player profile on Mets pitching prospect Colin McHugh. On Mets Weekly, presented by WB Mason. New episodes Sunday at 6, only on SNY. Johan Santana back to the mound. 52 pitches deep into this game. He's given up 4 runs and 5 hits and walked 3 over the first 2 innings. Jerry Hairston Jr. drove in a run with a single to center his first time up. Then his error staked the Mets to 2 unearned runs in the bottom of the first. And Hairston takes a strike. And that fastball is getting up there most of the time at 86, 87 miles an hour. So even by his own diminished standards, Santana not throwing as hard tonight. Off his glove, Tejada charges, and the bare hand, he throws it away. It hits the fence. Now Hairston took a turn, and they flip it to Tolle, but he can't make connection, and so Hairston able to get back. Hairston took a step towards second base, so he was fair game had the Mets been able to tag him out before he got back to the bag.
Ofer has turned into 2 hits tonight.
Well, this is a play right here where Tejada would just gobble it up, but the aggressiveness and the quickness of Santana, he just got in the way of that one.
He paid for being too good of an athlete. You know, in today's game, should never turn left with the because they're always the dugouts are covered.
Right.
So that's hit number 6 for the Dodgers, and the second for Hairston, who's now 2 for 20 against Santana. Grounded foul off the bat of Luis Cruz.
Well, here he is. Once you make the left-hand turn, you better think twice.
Watch this slide to avoid Tolle.
So an adventurous trip to first base for Jerry Hairston. Nobody out in the inning.
You know what's interesting about watching Jerry play tonight? Scott's not in the lineup. How different a player they are. Scott with the power, Jerry kind of a utility, fiery guy.
Still hits lefties.
That's right.
What's interesting was their father was a left-hand hitter, I believe. I don't think he was a switch hitter. I recall him being a line drive left-hand hitter. I could be wrong on that. David, would you look that up?
He had a short stroke.
I remember playing against him when he was with the White Sox in Des Moines. Back in the, shall I say it,
Old days.
Jerry Sr. Back in the early 70s.
Jerry Sr. was a switch hitter.
Switch hitter.
Here's the 1-1. Pulled foul off the bat of Luis Cruz, 1-2. Let's give you the results of our Toyota text poll. We asked you about Johan Santana's performance so far this year, and most of you think he is either exceeding or meeting expectations. Your Verizon text poll.
I would agree with that.
See, the rain has begun to fall again. Some umbrellas open, some folks heading for cover. Here's the 1-2, and another bouncer foul.
People we showed earlier in the poncho was smart.
Well, you couldn't have been around New York all day and not thought it was probably a good idea to bring some rain gear.
That's right.
Poured all day. And hopefully this is just a passing shower before it clears again. Now the 1-2 coming to Cruz, and he fouls it back. Luis Cruz was playing down in Albuquerque this year. He was hitting .318 with 8 home runs, but his lifetime big league numbers, .227, no home runs in 195 at bats.
Hard to judge those averages in Albuquerque.
Yeah. Jim Joyce, the crew chief, man in command of the tarp, which is staying put. Drive in the air to deep left field. Luis Cruz has a big league home run now. He parks that one in the seats for a 2-run shot, his first major league home run. The Dodgers' second 2-run homer of the night, and they lead at 6-2. And it is just not Johan Santana's night by any means. Third straight start in which Santana has given up 6 or more runs. First time in his career that's happened.
Well, let's look at the pitch. They want it away. It's a change. Oh, boy. Up and inner half running.
Yep.
So Luis Cruz at age 28 has his first big league home run, and he's waited a long time for that, you can tell.
Now, if you're Cruz, you're praying that this game is not rained out.
I don't think there's any chance of that happening. Not any chance.
No.
That's one happy guy.
Well, you're happy to anytime you hit a home run, your first home run, but I mean, to put it on the board against Santana now, it's a whole different story.
Languished in the minor leagues for a long time, had a couple of cups of coffee with the Pirates and the Brewers. Here's the 1-2, and it just missed inside 2-2. Well, the last time that any Met pitcher gave up 6 or more runs in 3 straight starts, you got to go back 10 years to Pedro Estacio in 2002. And now Johan Santana stunningly has done the same. Off the end of the bat, a foul ball, and against a Dodger team that he had dominated in all of his prior starts. 5-0 with a 0.5 ERA in his first 5 starts against LA. Pedro Beato, who was up earlier, gets up again in the Mets bullpen.
The other thing we've been talking about also is he's such a proud athlete, doesn't want to tell anyone anything, but he was, I wonder if the ankle is not allowing him to get enough on the baseball.
Of course, that was 2 starts ago. He got stepped on in that game against the Cubs and promptly gave up 5 quick runs. Got off to a good start against the Braves. First 4 innings were solid, but the roof caved in the 5th inning of that game. He gets Trainer for the first out of the inning. Second time he struck out Matt Trainer. His only 2 strikeouts of the night.
Just a little change up. Balls, take it away. Take it back, sorry. A little slider down and in there to Trainer.
One thing to keep in mind also is Terry Collins decides what to do with Santana here. This is a very winnable game for the Mets. They have had a lot of success over the years against Harang. They're down by 4 runs in the 3rd inning. And, you'd like to give Santana a chance to iron things out. You'd like to save your bullpen because Batista's starting tomorrow. But at the same time, you'd like to win the game, which is of paramount importance right now. Ball and a strike to Harang, and as it happens, Santana is due to lead off in the bottom of the 3rd. So we'll see how Terry decides to play it. Johan's already about to throw his 69th pitch of the day. By the way, Keith, those numbers against Steve Trout, 17 for 28.
Don't ask me.
A 607 average.
Well, hard sinker on my hands. I don't know how I did it.
Harang strikes out. That's the 2nd out of the inning. So back-to-back strikeouts for Johan against the 8 and 9 hitters. And now back to the top of the batting order, and Bobby Abreu.
But thanks for bringing that up, Gare.
Well, I just figured I'd close the story since Ronnie raised the issue. He obviously had great memories of your encounters with.
I probably got him a couple
Trout.
of W's with those numbers.
Now, Steve Trout was Dizzy Trout's son, right?
I think so. And he
Dodgers,
was dizzy.
Dodgers way back when.
Santana all the way in that outer 3rd base edge of that mound.
Abreu pops it up in the left center, and Torres looking through the raindrops, picks it off for the out. But the Dodgers had a pair. Luis Cruz with his first big league home run. A 2-run shot off Santana puts the Dodgers up 6-2 in the middle of the 3rd. after 3 rocky innings, and he is done for the night. Third straight start that Santana's given up 6 runs or more. First time in his career, first time by a Met in 10 years. And so his difficult night ends with Kirk Nieuwenhuis pinch hitting for him. Nieuwenhuis has been playing less and less lately. Got 1 at bat in the game yesterday in D.C. and grounded out. But a combination of factors. Nieuwenhuis has not hit well over the last month. Andres Torres has begun to hit very well, and Terry Collins has opted more often than not to keep Nieuwenhuis on the bench, even tonight against a right-hander.
Hairston's been playing a lot, and Jason Bay's back. No room.
Now, whether Bay is going to continue playing every day against left and right-handed pitching, I think, is an open question, and depends a lot on Bay's production. Meanwhile, Terry Collins wanted to get Dan Worthen's ideas on just what's going on with Santana.
You know, it's interesting. Terry Collins always tells us that he doesn't talk or do anything with the pitching, but you know, he has his say. Let's Danny know what he saw.
And Nieuwenhuis is out on strikes. Second strikeout for Harang, and that's the first out in the home third.
Well, just a fastball inside that ties up Kirk, and the strikeout is going to be the issue for him to deal with in the offseason. Eliminating it is the issue.
So 1 out and nobody on. Now Ruben Tejada. Ruben reached on an error by Jerry Hairston and scored in the opening inning. Mets got 2 unearned runs as a result of that error, but Harang has retired 7 in a row and now working with a 4-run lead.
Harang's changed his game plan this Murph against Tejada from that first game he faced them this year in Los Angeles. Tejada had 3 hits in his first 3 at bats, mostly fastballs.
He had 3 hits in his first 3 at bats, and in his 4th plate appearance against Harang, he got drilled.
He did drill him too.
And Tejada lifts a lazy fly ball to center. And the Gold Glover Matt Kemp one-hands it for the second out. So 2 up and 2 set aside in the bottom of the third. And now Daniel Murphy, who has the only man hit in this game, drove a double that eluded Bobby Abreu in left center field in the opening inning. That game in Los Angeles was part of that series where the Mets won the first 3 before the Dodgers took the last one, and the Mets beat Harang and the Dodgers 9-0. He gave up 5 runs in 5 2/3 in that game. And he appears to be getting into a groove now. Harang earlier this year, as you look at David Wright on deck, had a game against San Diego totally out of character, in which he struck out 9 consecutive batters. I mean, he's not a strikeout pitcher.
Well, he's not a strikeout pitcher anymore, but he did have some seasons where he struck out over 200 people, so he has the ability to strike out people, but certainly not Seaver-esque, trying to approach those 10 that Seaver had.
1 shy of Seaver's major league record for consecutive strikeouts. Inside to Murphy, 1 and 2. And he struck out the 9 after the leadoff hitter in the game reached base. So his first 9 outs of the game were strikeouts. If he had eliminated that leadoff base runner, he would have had the record for most strikeouts from the start of a game.
I was there. I saw it.
Jim DeShay's.
At the Big Shea.
8 strikeouts in a row to start a game against the Mets.
Tossing that high salad in there. We couldn't lay off it.
Ask Dave to look up my numbers off Jim DeShay's.
Are they Trout-esque?
Go ahead, Dave. Sick 'em, Dave.
3-2 coming to Murphy. Now, I would assume you were one of those 8 straight strikeouts to start the game, though.
He got me on occasion.
I think you were in the lineup.
I solved him pretty quickly. He threw very over the top. You recall, Ronnie?
A little funky.
Yep.
Jim, these days, a terrific broadcaster with the Astros.
Absolutely. And really a terrific guy.
Upstate New York guy.
Right. Didn't he go to Lemoyne College?
Yeah, you got it.
Up in the Syracuse area. You were 5 for 14 against him, 357 with a home run.
I always had a comfortable with him.
And Murphy drives another one to left center, and he's 2 for 2. So Murphy has the only 2 hits for the Mets tonight. A 2-out single in front of Wright.
Well, Murph, I always like it when Murph uses the whole field. That's a ball down the middle that he could have pulled, and he's gone into left center twice now, and he's gotten results. You know, Gary, that 86 playoff against the Astros, they really only had one left-hander in the bullpen. They did not start Deshaies in that series against us, and I really felt that they made a mistake not bringing in Deshaies in some middle relief as a left-hander, because he threw strikes.
To change it up.
Right.
Who was the lefty they
there's the blonde guy that threw the wild pitch, remember? He threw a wild pitch one game in that playoff.
Yeah.
And when I think he came in after the closer blew up.
Dave Smith.
Dave Smith blew up when Darryl hit the home run in the upper tank foul. I mean, he was never the same after that pitch.
Of course, Dave Smith gave up the home run to Lenny Dykstra.
Dave Smith had great numbers against every team in the National League except us. In an ERA over 5 against us.
Ball and 2 strikes to Wright. Calhoun, was that the
Yes.
lefty?
Calhoun.
Jeff Calhoun.
Jeff Calhoun was their only lefty out of the pen. And I believe he threw a wild pitch in one of the games. I could be mistaken there.
Orang ahead on Wright, 1-2. David had a sacrifice fly his first time up, barely missed a 3-run homer, and this time he goes down swinging, and that'll do it for the Mets in the bottom of the third. Third strikeout for Orang. 6-2 Dodgers after 3.
Fly ball to center field. Webster gone back. Grand slam, home run. Kevin McReynolds.
Zabriskie.
That's right.
Of course, that was part of the 1988 NL East champion Mets, who won the division handily, beat the Dodgers 10 of 11 during the regular season, matched up against the Dodgers in the League Championship Series, and went down in 7 games. Kirk Gibson won the MVP, and despite the fact that they had far superior numbers, Darryl Strawberry and Kevin McReynolds finished 2nd and 3rd in the MVP ballot in that year.
That was really 2 guys on the same team. You look at Beato's numbers that really diminished. He took away from each other. They canceled each other out.
Pedro Beato pitching for the first time since his game-ending wild pitch on Tuesday night in Washington. Mark Ellis to lead off, Matt Kemp to follow, and then Andre Ethier for the Dodgers in the 4th. I was looking back at the numbers from that 1988 League Championship Series when the Dodgers stunned the Mets. Mets as a team hit 189 in that series. Of course, that was Oral Hershiser's signature season.
That series could have been over in 4 games, Gary. We're lucky to get the first win in Dodger Stadium. Carter got the bloop single to center field. It was early, right? Off when I think Doc started. We won 1-0 in the first game.
First game you were down 2-0 going to the 9th and won it 3-2.
So that's amazing how you could forget.
Strawberry had an RBI double, and then Carter had a 2-run double in that 9th inning.
So what am I thinking?
I remember in the 3rd game I went up against Hershiser. Neither of us pitched very well. But in the 4th game, Hershiser came in relief, got the save, and I was pinch running on 3rd base when T-Bone Shelby made the great catch in center field.
And of course, game 4, which looked like it was in the bag. Doc Gooden working with a 4-2 lead in the 9th inning, and then stunningly, Mike Scioscia hit the game-tying home run.
Right over my head, line drive.
Gibson hit the go-ahead home run, and then Hershiser came out of the bullpen in the 12th inning to get the save.
My bulldog is.
Drive to left off the bat of Ellis, and on comes Bay to make the running grab, 1 out. But I go back to game 2. You know, that was the game David Cohn started after the ghosted article that he wrote talking about Jay Howell and
making fun of Jay Howell.
Little League curveball, right?
I remember we won 100 games that year, and we should have had the home field advantage. I don't know how the heck we opened up at Dodger Stadium. I was really ticked off about that. Same thing happened to us in '86. I remember I went to I forget who, and said go in the clubhouse during BP and make sure David's okay, because David was really shook.
Yeah.
And David's a very sensitive guy.
He was embarrassed by it.
He was still young at that time.
Yes, and you know what? To this day, I kick myself in the fanny for not going in and having a talk with Dave, although that may not have mattered. But he went out there and proceeded to get his lunch.
Lasted just 2 innings, I think.
Lasorda was screaming at him in the dugout. So, c'est la vie. It is what it is.
Matt Kemp, a 2-run homer in the 1st inning, a walk in the 2nd, and he grounds this one foul, 0-2.
Not bad.
Wow, 14-1 at Shea.
I don't even remember that.
Ronnie got us back onto the streets of Manhattan in a hurry that year.
That was my intention.
That probably wasn't necessarily a good thing at the end of the day.
That's funny.
Here's the 0-2 to Kemp, and the curveball from Beato in there for a call, strike 3. So Kemp goes down looking for the 2nd out.
You know, the one thing I remember about that series is I don't remember that number at all. That's funny to see that number. Good curveball by Beato. So I'll never forget the 7th game. I got my lunch. You're talking about Coney getting his lunch. I got my lunch, and I remember after the game, my family was on the bus, and they were sitting in the front row, and I walked in, and I walked to where I usually sat, in the back of the bus. And my family came back to me and said, why are you sitting back here? I had no idea they were on the bus. That's how shell-shocked I was.
I made probably one of my worst play of my career defensively in that game. Who was the shortstop? Alfredo Griffin.
Yes.
Right. Up in a bunt situation, 1st and 2nd, and I was in tight. And he handled the bat so well as a switch hitter. And I remember he looked at me down at first base, and I just thought he might swing the bat the first pitch. And I got caught in between, and he popped it up, and I froze. And then I got the ball, and I didn't even throw to first base. And the bases were loaded. Steve Sachs followed the next at bat and got a base up the middle, and that was the ball game.
Yep. Yeah, you weren't alone, though. I mean, Greg Jeffries made an error in that first inning. I remember it wasn't just you, Ron.
Well, it feels like it was me.
And Hershiser was so good that day, it probably wouldn't have mattered.
Right.
Through a 5-hit shutout.
Well, it was. Oh, should have been over in 4.
Here's the 1-2, and Ethier pops one up. David Wright into foul ground. Right to the dugout railing and makes the grab. Nicely done by David Wright. Giving enough room by Clayton Kershaw to make the play. Kershaw got out of the way, and Wright goes over and grabs it right at the railing. Gold Glove season, huh?
Yeah.
And the Dodgers working with a 4-run lead. Ike Davis had a sacrifice fly his first time up, and he takes off the plate for ball 1. Davis due to end bay as the Mets try and put a dent in Harang here in the 4th. Mets got a couple of unearned runs in the first. Sac flies by Wright and Davis driving them in. And Ike takes a fastball for a strike and is 1-1.
There's a lot of ball game left.
Mets have had just 2 hits against Harang, and Daniel Murphy has both of those hits. Well, that's what the Dodgers starting pitchers have done so far this year. And remember that they are down 2 starters now. Ted Lilly's been on the disabled list for a couple of months now. And a comebacker to Harang, catches into the webbing and makes the play on Davis for the first out. And now Chad Billingsley has got some elbow issues, and he's on the disabled list as well. So they don't have quite the depth that they had before, and that's one of the reasons why the Dodgers are one of the teams that is talking to the Cubs about acquiring Ryan Dempster, who might be the shiniest pitcher out on the market.
Yeah, I know Rick Honeycutt, their pitching coach you saw there, would sure like Dempster. And Dempster, best friends with Ted Lilly, too. So he has agreed that they can work everything out. He would like to come to the West Coast.
And the Astros in Toronto just had a big multiplayer trade.
10-player trade. No huge names there. You look at the Empire City National League ERA leaders. Dempster on top with 33 consecutive scoreless innings. And interestingly enough, another team that is very much in the hunt for Dempster, a team that has maybe the best starting pitching in the league, the Washington Nationals, with an eye toward shutting down Strasburg and basically replacing him with Dempster at some point. They're ranked behind on Duda 3-0.
It's hard to believe, isn't it, Ronnie?
That's Ted Lilly.
It's hard to believe you're going to shut down your ace.
Well, he's not shut down tonight. Strasburg's got 4 scoreless under his belt against the Braves as Duda draws a walk. First walk of the night issued by Harang, who's been walking more hitters this year. It's been an interesting season for Harang. If you chart his pitches, he's been up in the strike zone more this year than in the past, but he's giving up fewer home runs. However, the flip side of that is that he's walking more hitters.
Well, and you have to remember that most of his career spent in Cincinnati, where a ball up in the strike zone ends up in the out of the ballpark.
Of course, he pitched in San Diego last year, which was a pretty friendly pitcher's park. Here's Jason Bay, who flied to left his first time up, and he takes the fastball high. Bay now 2 for 12 since returning from the disabled list, including that resounding home run against Tyler Clippard a couple of nights ago. Andres Torres on deck, and a letter high strike. 1-1. Slider fouled off. 1-2. The Dodgers are starting a lefty tomorrow afternoon, and Chris Capuano said Bay will be in the lineup. The question is, will he be back in the lineup Sunday when the Dodgers start a right-hander in Nathan Eovaldi?
I want to know when Valdespin is going to start a game again.
It's an interesting question, isn't it? I mean, when Valdespin has played, whether it's been as a starter or off the bench, he's provided the Mets with a dynamic that they just don't have otherwise.
Well, a lot of things. He can hit, number one. Love his swing. And he provides some speed. There he is right there.
He's probably wondering why I'm not in there either.
And the interesting thing about Valdespin, in addition to his offense, is when he has played in the outfield, he's looked as comfortable out there as anybody the Mets have had out there all year.
He's played it well. He's a natural. He's like a young colt just wanting to get out of the barn.
Guy's been a second baseman for most of his career. 3-2 to Bay, and he walked him, and the Mets have 2 men on. So back-to-back walks issued by Harang. And the Mets have 2 aboard with Andres Torres coming up. Sunday, find out what intense workouts some players are doing to get in shape for camp. Plus, from Tebow to the draft, get a recap of the Jets offseason on Jets Nation, presented by Melrose Credit Union. New episode Sunday at 7, only on SNY. Well, the Mets trying to fight their way back into this game. They had a couple of men on here in the 4th. Duda at second, Bay at first with 1 out. Now Andres Torres, who grounded out to first base his first trip.
Trying to figure out how you can throw a 3-2 slider to a guy when you're leading 6-2. Haven't come up with the answer yet.
And a fastball for a strike to Torres.
Well, in at the corners at third base, I shouldn't say the corners, third base corner, Jerry Hairston, Luis Cruz, for some reason, wants to kind of worry about Duda. Where's Duda going? Get back and play defense.
One of the things that has characterized Torres' resurgence as a left-hand hitter has been his ability to hit the ball to left field. And a slider in the dirt stopped by Trainer, 1-1. We saw that in Atlanta, particularly on that last road trip. Torres, who's been struggling left-handed all year, all of a sudden taking that outside pitch to left.
Yeah, his problem early in the season was just pulling that baseball, hitting the 4-3.
And that's why he's in the lineup tonight, rather than Neuenhuis or Valdespin against the right-hander. Paints the inside corner. A ball and 2 strikes. Torres moves back. 92 from Harang, as hard as he's thrown all night.
And they're just pounding Andres inside.
Aaron Harang's career numbers: Oakland, Cincinnati, San Diego. Now at age 34, working at the back end of the Dodgers rotation. 2-2 with 2 men on. And Torres tries to lay off, and they check it, and he did not swing. Mike DeMuro with the call, and Torres works the count full. So after Harang issued back-to-back walks, he works around the edges of the strike zone against Torres.
Harang has just been erratic with his breaking ball, Ronnie.
Yep. He's one pitch away out of the strike zone of getting himself in serious trouble.
Or a one pitch, a good one to get him out of trouble.
You're right.
He's just
3-2 to Torres, and he fouls it back. High fastball from Harang. Josh Tolley is on deck. Pitcher spot behind him. More action up in the Mets bullpen. Johan Santana pulled for a pinch hitter after 3 innings. Pedro Beato turned in a 1-2-3 fourth, but Terry Collins wouldn't hesitate to keep going to his bench as often as he needs to, and so Ramon Ramirez gets up in the bullpen. 3-2 to Torres. 7th pitch of the bat coming, and he drives one into center field, but on comes Kemp, and he makes the lunging grab for the second out. Well, he hit it hard, but it stayed up for Kemp, who plays center field about as well as anybody in the game.
Well, Kemp just got a great jump on this one right off the bat, and that's why he makes the play. One bit of hesitation, one step back, and that ball drops. Nice play.
Your Home Depot doing more on defense. Doesn't look like that much at the end, but it's that first step that makes the play. So 2 out and 2 on. Now Josh Tolley, who struck out his first time up. And he takes a breaking ball high for ball 1. It's nice to see Josh drive the ball a couple of times during the series in Washington. That big 10th inning double he had to left center, and then the one he hit off the wall yesterday in right field. Valdespin on deck to pinch hit as Tolley gulfs one foul.
You know, prior to that double to left center field yesterday, I just did not like the defensive positioning of that left fielder. They had him hugging the left field line and shallow, and it wasn't a good defensive outfielder.
Yeah, he's not an outfielder.
Talking about Lombardozzi.
Yep. And just gap Josh. You know.
1-1 from Harang, and a little cue shot past the mound. Charging is Cruz, and he makes the play on Tolley to end the inning. 2 walks and 2 left. 4 in the books now. Dodgers 6, Mets 2. Tough night for Johan Santana. Third straight start. He's given up 6 runs or more. Matt Kemp got the Dodgers started with a 2-run homer. Mets runs came on a couple of sacrifice flies in the first. And Aaron Harang has made the 4-run lead stand up for LA. Rain has stopped for the moment. Fans ready for more if necessary. Of course, you got a game tonight and a post-game concert as well. Daughtry is here.
Really?
Roger?
You're thinking Daltrey.
Oh, excuse me.
This is Daughtry. Juan Rivera leads off in the 5th inning. Rivera has popped up and grounded into a fielder's choice, 0 for 2. Pedro Beato's 2nd inning of relief, and he dents the outside corner, 0-1. Jerry Hairston Jr. on deck, and then Luis Cruz in the top of the 5th.
You know, the wild pitch notwithstanding, I wonder if Pedro knows how good he is. He has a real chance to be an established major leaguer. He's got 92 to 95, razor blade slider, changeup like we just saw, split finger changeup.
Well, we saw it the first 2 months last season, didn't we? Drive to left field, and Bay is there. And makes the grab to retire Rivera 1 out. Now here's Jerry Hairston, who's 2 for 2 after starting out the night 0 for 18 in his career against Santana. He singled to center to drive in a run in the first, and then had an infield hit off Santana's glove and scored in the 3rd. Well, I think we referenced it earlier that, you know, Keith's All-Star break was a little longer than most, and some people, you know, go on long vacations when they have an extended All-Star break. Some people go to France. Some people head for the beach. In Keith's case, he embarked on a design project, apparently, because he came in after his extended summer vacation with, I guess you'd call it a drafting project.
Well, yeah, I just redid my scorecard. It's basically the same design, but I found out about, I think, PowerPoint or Excel. I'm not sure what the heck it is. You can do it on a computer, have a template.
Right, throws out Hairston for the 2nd out. Now, you've always been known for your colorful scorecards, but they were always colors that you added as the game went along.
So I had this done, I designed, and so I always do the color coordination, you know, for the pitchers. So it's always a pain in the neck because I got to do it down here. So why not do it where I don't have to mess with it, period. And it was printed out by my friend Harry, who's the owner of Dunkersley, the print shop in Southampton. And it was actually too large. They had to condense it. They had to send it out to the printers, and I had like 200 made, and he told me to copyright it, put it on, sell it.
Now, did you have to pay extra for each additional color? Because, you know, sometimes 3-color printing costs less than 5-color printing, and it looks like you've got a plethora of color.
I had 200 copies made, and it cost me $200. $1 a copy.
Sounds like a bargain. I know it's going to keep us very entertained.
I'll sell them for $5.
You're a capitalist, aren't you? Is brought to you by your Mercedes-Benz Tri-State dealers. Visit them on the web at searchmercedes.com. I tried to do that super slow.
I know, yeah, you read it in slow-mo. Very nice.
Ronnie Cedeno will pinch hit for Pedro Beato as we go to the bottom of the fifth inning. Mets down 6-2. Beato 6 up and 6 down in relief. Nice bounce back for him. And Cedeno takes a fastball for a strike. Ronnie has good career numbers against Harang. 7 for 23 with a couple of home runs. Seems everybody in the Mets lineup started the night with good numbers against Harang. But tonight he's given up just 2 hits over the first 4 innings and a couple of unearned runs.
That's why they play the games, Gare.
Ruben Tejada on deck, and then Daniel Murphy. Thought they played it to keep us employed. Breaking ball, and Cedeno's out on 3 pitches. Strikeout number 4 for Aaron Harang. Meanwhile, in Washington, Ryan Zimmerman has added a 3-run homer, and the Nats are up 6-0 on the Braves in the 5th.
It's a 4-game series, right? Doubleheader tomorrow?
Day-nighter tomorrow. In fact, the Nats are going to call up John Lannett to start one of those games. He's been down in the minors all year. Daniel Murphy on deck as Ruben Tejada steps in. Tejada 0 for 2 tonight. Reached on an error and scored in the first, flied out in the third. Now Tejada has had a terrific year offensively and defensively, despite missing 7 weeks with a quad injury. You haven't heard much talk these days about Met fans pining for Jose Reyes, have you?
No, you haven't. Why would you? One man has come to play this year.
He's been splendid.
And it's stroked over shortstop, and he dumps it into left field for a base hit. A 2-strike approach even before he gets to 2 strikes, just serving that ball into left field. Well, those are the comparisons so far this year. Reyes actually hit a leadoff home run tonight for the Marlins in Pittsburgh. But, well, I'll tell you what, you have to like what the Mets have gotten for a lot lower cost from Ruben Tejada.
You know, Ruben with the 16 RBI in only 47 games. Of course, he was hurt. Missed a good portion of the first half. That's very productive. He's been leading off most of the year.
So Tejada has the Mets' 3rd hit. Murphy had the first 2. A single and a double, both hit to left center.
I think another point on Tejada, too, is that I think Tejada is much more consistent defensively than Reyes. Much more.
Well, he's not as flashy as Jose.
Right.
And he probably doesn't possess quite the arm strength.
He has a good enough arm. And I just feel that on 162 games, he's steady Eddie out there. And that's what you need. That's what you need from all your players defensively. Unfortunately, you can't. Not everybody's that way. But I don't think there's been any, as far as defense is concerned, nothing's been missed.
Now Harang behind on Murphy 2-0. And Daniel hits another one to left field. This one along the line, and that'll fall for a hit. Tejada goes to third. He's going to be waved around. The relay throw to the plate is not in time. Tejada scores on a double by Murphy to cut the Dodger lead to 6-3. Terrific base coaching by Tim Tuffle, sending Tejada home from first. Murphy with his 3rd hit of the night.
Well, both hits, all 3 hits to left field. This one down the line. Placed nicely. I tell you what, they get a good relay throw here. They throw Tejada out of the plate. But not a good throw from Cruz.
Well, that's your third base coach being aggressive and knowing his feelings. Sometimes you're reluctant to take a chance with David Wright coming up next, but you see Abreu throw flat-footed.
Well, he throws it, and watch it. It just over the top. It bleeds down the line. If he hits if he throws it right at a on target, that's a close play at the plate.
Rick Honeycutt, the Dodger pitching coach, out at the mound to talk to Aaron Harang. So Tejada getting aboard. And then Murphy, who's had a big night with his second double of the game. That's 27 doubles now for Murphy, just 3 behind David Wright for the club lead. As they both take aim at the Mets club record of 44 doubles in a season.
Well, the ball sinks out of the strike zone. It's up, and that's why he got it on the end of the bat. But still, his approach is the other way, going with the outside corner pitch.
So now runner in scoring position for Wright, who delivered a long sacrifice fly back in the first inning, then struck out in the third. Dodgers 6, Mets 3, 5th inning. And Wright takes it low for ball 1. David now with 66 runs batted in. That ties Carlos Beltran now for the National League lead. David has piled up the RBIs in a hurry over the last month. And Harang working carefully, falls behind 2-0. Walk to right would bring the tying run to the plate with Ike Davis on deck.
Trying to get those outs in the 5th inning when you're leading by a few runs and be fleeting.
Seeing the victory at the end of the tunnel and the light getting no closer.
Not staying in the moment, thinking about the result. Frown by Don Mattingly.
Dodgers get their bullpen cranky now in the 5th inning. Murphy at second and 1 out. Harang behind on right, 3-0. And David takes it outside, ball 4. And that'll get Davis to the plate as the tying run. Third walk given up by Harang.
I don't think Harang wanted anything to do with David at that at bat.
It's going to cost him here with Davis.
You could be right.
So a big spot here for Ike, who delivered a sacrifice fly in the first inning, then hit a comebacker in the 4th. Davis, who homered yesterday in Washington, tied with Wright for the club lead with 14 home runs.
Pretty much straight away in the outfield. Kemp playing real deep in center.
Look at that. 83 of 89 games he's been on base this year. What a great season he's having. So 2 aboard for Davis with 1 out. And he fouls off the first pitch fastball, 0-1.
Well, going after that first pitch aggressively. Fastball right down the middle. Good cut.
Josh Lindblom up in the bullpen for the Dodgers.
Ike real crouched.
And the curveball misses. A ball and a strike.
Sometimes when you get in those RBI situations, Gary, and I was of that mindset, you get so fired up to drive in that run, you kind of get crouched. You're more in a attack position. Very widespread, but very crouched for Ike.
Lays off. 2-1. Well, Davis hitting just 206 for the year, but 15 of Ike's last 20 hits have been for extra bases. And he already has 6 3-run homers this year and a grand slam, batting here with 2 men on base, representing the tying run. 2-1 coming from Harang. And he fouls off another fastball, 2-2.
I don't think I've ever seen Ike so widespread with his feet.
It's an interesting stat.
Sure is.
Before. RBIs per hit. Right up there among the major league leaders this year. Pedro Alvarez just homered for the Pirates tonight. His 20th.
Look at that. That is just extreme.
2-2 now to Davis. And Ike hits one in the air to right field. Back goes Ethier. He's got plenty of room in front of the warning track. And that's the second out. Tagging and going to third is Murphy.
Just cut that ball in enough.
So 2 out.
Well, the pitch sequence here. Fastball down the middle, fouled back. 0-1. Curveball, backdoor, just misses. Slider down and in. Fastball down the middle, 2-2. Then they came inside enough, as Ronnie said. Got in his Cosina. Just enough.
So is he more unhappy about the last pitch he hit for the fly ball or the 2 fastballs down the middle that he fouled off?
I think the 2 he missed. What do you think, Keith?
I think all 3.
All 3.
He had good cuts in all 3.
Yep.
So it's left to Lucas Duda. First and third and 2 out. Lucas has popped to short and drawn a walk 0-for-1. Lucas with a dozen home runs on the season. We mentioned Harang's home run numbers are down this year. He's given up just 10 home runs this season in 112 innings, which is not bad at all. And the first pitch curveball in for a strike, 0-1. Murphy at third, right at first with 2 down. Harang now up to 100 pitches as he works in the 5th inning, trying to get that out that would qualify him for a win. Jason Bay would be next. And Duda fouls one. That one caught the home plate umpire, Jim Reynolds.
And that has been Lucas's problem. He's just been under everything. He's just not getting. He got a home run swing, he got a low ball swing, but he's just not getting on top of the ball enough.
Would you send right here, try and steal a run?
You could on a double steal, try to trick him, but one swing, boom, you're tied up. I wouldn't do it, Gare.
Harang ahead 0-2, and Duda lays off. Harang working hard here in the 5th. He's already given up a run. 1-2. And the breaking ball down, and Duda does a nice job laying off. Trainer blocks it to keep Murphy at third, and now it's 2-2.
The veteran trainer has done a nice job in a lot of these ground balls. See how he smothers that ball? That's textbook.
That's the kind of play that'll keep you in the big leagues for 10 years.
That's right.
See Lucas's numbers with 2 outs and runners in scoring position outstanding all year, as has this entire Met team been. 283 as a team with 2 outs in RBI situations. 2-2 from Harang, and he ties him up inside in a full count, 3-2. So Duda's worked his way back from 0-2 to 3-2.
This is a good pitch right here, Ronnie. If he gets it for a strike, little cutter.
I think he called that up.
Boy, oh boy, the trainer just framed it right there. Didn't move his glove.
First baseman Rivera moves behind right, who will be taking off on the pitch. 3-2 to Duda with 2 down. And Lucas swings and flies one along the right field line. Ethier coming over near that sidewall, and it goes out of play. Not a whole lot of room once you cross the foul line in the corner.
If I remember correctly, Gary, Shea didn't have a lot of room down the foul lines deep.
It was more angled.
Right.
Didn't have that straight line fence. It brings the fans all the way up to the line. So another chance for Duda. (3-2). Foul back, had a good rip at the fastball that time.
Well, that was right down Broadway. And again, see Lucas underneath. He's getting his pitch to hit, and he's not on top. He's done nothing but get under it and foul it back. That's a good cut. Just got to focus more to get on top of that ball.
Make you think he's just trying to hit home runs?
No, I don't think he is. I really don't.
8th pitch of the at-bat coming from Harang, and Duda grounds one foul.
What was that?
I think it took a funny hop on Rivera, and he tried to stop it with his ankle.
Not sure if he meant to.
Hacky sack move. He plays for the Dodgers. Funny hop.
Nice. Well, you knew it was foul.
Yeah.
Rivera, who's spent a lot more time as an outfielder than a first baseman. Again, the 3-2. And Duda checks his swing. Did he go? He went around. Strike 3. Mike DeMuro punches him out from third base. And that's how Harang gets through the bottom of the 5th. His 5th strikeout on a close check swing.
I don't think so.
Mets get a run on Murphy's double. 6-3 Dodgers after 5. Into play right field. He'll bat 9th. Ramon Ramirez will pitch and take Lucas Duda's number 5 spot in the order.
Ramirez has looked so much better lately using his fastball, slider, changeup, starting to find his way.
Time Warner Cable helps you enjoy all the things you love better. For more on tonight's game, let's check in with Kevin Burkhardt. Kevin?
The Mets leave a couple runners on base that last inning, Gary. One of them was David Wright, who, as we showed earlier, has been on base 93% of the games he's played this year, which is just an astounding number. That shows you the type of year. It's been a career year for David. And, you know, I asked him about the reevaluation process that he did in the offseason. And, you know, we talked about it at times earlier this year. Remember, I did a story about Tim Tuffle and he's sitting down and really just going over film and evaluating his whole defensive process. And David said, you know what, it goes back further than that. It goes back to last year when I was hurt. You know, I figure individually I'm only halfway where I want to be and hope to be as a baseball player. And when I got hurt, I was down in Port St. Lucie, and it was so weird for me. I'm so used to grinding at bats out and just going every day in the summer. And I was rehabbing and I had so much time. So I really decided to just take a look and see where I was. And I watched a lot of tape, you know, offensively and defensively, some good tape and some bad tape. And I realized that not only physically, but philosophically, there were just a lot of things that I was doing so differently, the things that had made me successful earlier in my career. So, you know, it was a big goal. I didn't get to put it all into play last year, but in the offseason, it was a goal of mine to change all of those things and get back to being the player that I can be. And he's obviously done that. It's been a career year. But it's funny how some time on the DL maybe made him reevaluate his entire career.
It's funny, isn't it, after you've had some great initial success in your career, as David did. I mean, the first 4 or 5 years of his career, he was on a tremendous career arc, and then some things happened along the way, team-wise and individual-wise, that caused that to change. And Keith, it's an interesting thing, isn't it, that a player can get into something of a morass and then find his way out of it like that.
Well, how many times can you say that an injury is beneficial? Yeah. And I think the key thing that Kevin mentioned was not so much looking at the tape, but in what he was doing differently physically, is that what he was psychologically thinking. And you can become a veteran and you can kind of think yourself, you become too smart. And I was guilty of that because you get familiar with the pitchers. And the only way that you can really take a step back, when you're playing every day like David, you're caught in the storm, you're in the tempest, and there's no respite. But when you're hurt for a length of time, you can sit back and take a deep breath. Don't have to have the at-bats every day. Count to 10, take a look, and see the difference. And think more clearly. I think it was beneficial for him. Obviously, the results this year are off the charts.
Tony Gwynn Jr. pinch hitting, drives one to right field, hooking toward the line. Hairston coming over, and it lands a fair ball and hops up into the stands for a ground rule double. So Gwynn with a pinch hit double.
Well, I think when you didn't get all that, hit it off the end of the bat. That's why it stayed fair and right on the chalk.
You got to catch that ball, don't you?
If you bring your glove, you got to catch it.
I mean, come on.
The only thing I can add about David is that whenever you're confronted with your baseball mortality, I mean, that's what happens when you're injured like that, a broken back, is that you're saying, hey, I'm not going to take anything for granted. How many years do I have left? If I'm going to spend the next 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, whatever years they are, I'm going to make sure I get back to the things that made me successful, and he has.
There's Bobby Abreu.
The only things he doesn't do now is the stolen base. It's not part of his arsenal.
And, so what?
Yeah,
stay strong.
I agree. I agree.
You want David Wright strong in August and September when it's down the crunch time down the stretch. Don't want to leave it out there and lose it. Leave it out there in May and June.
And for all of that, for all of the revamping and reworking and reimagining that David did, you go back to a day in Philadelphia in April this year, the time that you really understood that this was going to be a different year for David. He had fractured his finger. He had missed a couple of days. Wasn't sure if he was going to go on the disabled list. Couldn't even bend the finger. Talks himself into the lineup, and first time up, first pitch he sees, hits it over the center field fence. And to me, that was the moment that you knew this was going to be a big year.
It's a mental and physical toughness that a lot of his teammates should try to emulate.
And don't think Terry Collins wasn't looking for someone to be the leader out there every day on the field for him. And David, with Reyes gone, David's the last man standing. It's on. There's no one else that plays every day. It's not as a leader in this team. It has to be David.
David arguing with his manager to stay in the game to get hit by the baseball. I mean, we can keep going on about this year.
Well, we've said it before. He may not have the captain's portfolio, but he's still the captain.
Yeah.
Ramirez ahead 1-2 on Abreu. And he checks his swing. And he goes down on strikes.
I was going to say, after duty, he better call him out.
Well, no request of the third base umpire required. This time, Jim Reynolds called it himself.
I did not think Lucas swung, to be honest with you.
Abreu knew he swung. First time he hasn't smiled all day. So 2 out. Gwynn still at second. Here's Mark Ellis, 1 for 3. Had a base hit back in the second. There goes the runner. The pitch outside. Tolley's throw to nobody covering the bag, and fortunate that Wright was able to go back and play it on a hop. No awareness there as Tolley threw the ball to an unoccupied bag, and the Mets are fortunate it didn't cost them a run.
Well, in Tolley's defense here, he's got to focus on the ball. He's assuming that Wright's covering.
And he can't see through the batter.
And David's idea here is, okay, I'm playing back. Am I going to leave open that vacate third base?
No, you said in Tolley's defense, and David's got to hold his position.
So Gwynn with a stolen base. He's at third with 2 out. And Ellis trying to bunt the run in and bunts through it. Looking for the 2-out bunt hit to get the run in. Not a squeeze play, just a guy trying to get a bunt for a hit.
Boy, Gwynn was expecting it, wasn't he?
Wright playing well off the line. No chance for Tolley to throw behind Gwynn. Now it's 1-1 to Ellis. And he takes a fastball from Ramirez for a strike. Nice to see Ramon using his fastball.
I also think he might have tapped into something here. Ramirez might be the guy you have to use a lot more than he's been used.
He likes the pitch.
Yeah.
The Mets need for him to have a turnaround second half.
Yes.
He's a guy who's got a great track record, but did not have a good first half at all. Here's the 1-2 to Ellis, and he misses high with that fastball. 2-2. This is a guy he's got to get out. Matt Kemp is standing on deck.
Well, Washington blew that game wide open. Now it's 9-2 now through 5.
Brian McCann hit a home run to break up Strasburg's shutout.
Washington just continues to roll.
Little tapper to the right side. Murphy slides over to get it. And so Ramirez works around the double by Gwynn and gets through the top of the 6th. Mets will go back to work in the bottom of the 6th against the Dodger bullpen at 6-3. As we go to the bottom of the 6th inning.
Well, Loom, Tennessee, Purdue, as you see Wright and Tolley talking about that throw to the phantom base. pretty interesting.
That was nice. I can laugh about it now.
Well,
didn't cost them a run. Jason Bay leads off against Lindblom, and he takes ball one. Bay tonight has flied out and walked 0 for 1. Mets fought back for a run in the 5th, but left a couple of men on after Johan Santana put them in a big hole early. Santana touched for 6 runs over 3 innings tonight. Mets bullpen has given them 3 scoreless innings. Tony Gwynn Jr. stayed in the game in left field, so the pitcher Lindblom hits in the number 1 spot as Abreu comes out. And there's a strike to Bay, 1-2. Aaron Harang went 5 innings, allowed 4 hits, 3 runs, only 1 earned, walked 3, struck out 5, in line for his 7th win of the year. Torres and Tolley to follow here in the 6th. And Bay swings at the breaking ball and misses. And Lindblom fans the first man to face him.
Well, he took 2 fastballs, Ron. Then has to swing at the slider.
Well, this young man has some filthy pitches. He's their long man. Didn't make it as a starter in the minor leagues, but making it as a long man.
Well, once they moved him to the bullpen last year, he started to find success. Made his debut with the Dodgers last season, 25 years old, and appears to have hit his stride. Works it inside to Torres, a ball and a strike. Torres hit the ball hard his last time up, lined out to center field. Kemp made a nice lunging grab. Born in Lafayette, Indiana, so he went to Purdue right next door eventually after a stopover at Tennessee.
A Boilermaker.
I know what a Boilermaker is if you're in a bar.
Yeah, I do
but
too.
what is it in real life?
I don't know. All I know is that Bob Greasy came out of there.
Yes, he did. Gene Cady coached there for a long time.
That's the guy with the bad moss, right? Gene Cady?
The comb over?
He's now sitting on the St. John's bench with Steve Lavin. 3-2 coming to Torres, and he walked him. So the Mets get a 1-out base runner. 4th walk the Mets have drawn tonight. New York Mets baseball on SNY is brought to you by Time Warner Cable. Enjoy all the things you love better: TV, internet, and home phone from Time Warner Cable. By State Farm, today's State Farm agent of the game is Alan Wheeler of Brooklyn. Contact Alan's office at alanwheeler.biz. And by Cadillac. Now Josh Tolley is 0 for 2 tonight, struck out and grounded out against Harang. Now facing the relief pitcher Josh Lindblom with Torres at first and 1 out, and Josh takes it high. And Matt Trainer tries to settle down his young pitcher. Scott Hairston sitting 9th in the order. He's on deck. Dodgers have been in front since the jump tonight. 2-run homer by Matt Kemp in the 1st inning. And the Mets have been fighting uphill all night. Still plenty of game to work with. Torres with 9 steals this year. Remember, with the first couple of months after he came back from the calf injury, he wasn't running at all. And then all of a sudden, right before the All-Star break, Torres really started to turn it on the bases. Lindblom having trouble getting his fastball down. It's 2-0.
Pitching coach Rick Honeycutt on the right. Well, he can doctor a ball. He had sandpaper, you name it.
3-0 to Tolley. So after walking the number 7 hitter, Lindblom falls behind 3-0 to the 8 hitter. And you got a bomber on deck in Scott Hairston. There's Rick Honeycutt, who had himself a long and Very successful career.
He's a hard sinker, hard slider pitcher, knew how to pitch, competitor, threw strikes.
That's a high strike. 3-1 to Tolley.
End of his career, he was the setup man to Dennis Eckersley in Oakland through some of their finest years.
Wasn't he once traded to the Yankees in the last week of the season?
He was.
Like 5 days to go in the year. I'd never seen that before. I'm not sure I've seen it since. 3-1 now to Tolley. And Josh takes it high, so Lindblom having all sorts of problems getting on top of that ball. He issues back-to-back walks, and the Mets will get Hairston to the plate as the tying run. That's the second time in the last 3 innings the Mets have drawn back-to-back walks. Duda and Bay walk consecutively with 1 out in the 4th, and now Torres and Tolley do the same here in the 6th. And Hairston will come to bat for the first time tonight.
That was a good shot we had with Don Madden. Almost looked like he was saying, I really wanted to manage. Did I really want to do this?
Sean Tollison is up in the Dodger bullpen. Getting quickly to work as Honeycutt will buy some time for Tollison by paying a visit to Lindblom and spend as much time as he can. We, meanwhile, will spend that period of time showing you our AT&T trivia question for tonight. Who were the 2 Dodgers to hit 4 home runs in a game?
You got one who
One of them played for the Mets.
Yeah.
Actually, both of them played for the Mets.
I don't know the other one.
I believe one of them has their number somewhere here in the ballpark.
Oh, I got it. I got it.
Torres is at second, Tolley at first with 1 out. And Hairston, who went 0 for 4 yesterday, starting in right field, steps in here. Tying run at the plate in a 6-3 game. And Lindblom struggling with his control, throws a fastball down the middle for a strike.
It's always surprising to see Hairston take a pass on a fastball.
Yeah. Well, especially, that guys walk 2, pitching coach just went to the mound, just trying to get the ball over, kind of a fastball.
Yeah, hard to trust it, though, with the young kids because they could stay right there.
Lindblom takes a look back at Torres. Got the second baseman Ellis playing almost behind second against Hairston, so Torres can't get too big of a lead. And the slider low and away to Scott, a ball and a strike. Hairston has 12 home runs this year, but only 3 of them against right-hand pitchers. He's been the Mets' lefty buster this year. Now the 1-1 from Lindblom, and another slider. 2-1.
All right, that's 2 sliders in a row. 3-run ball game. 2-1 count. Miss Bev with 2 sliders. Boy, this is a hitter's count, looking for some serious cheddar.
But he's proven to you now that very minimally that he can throw a slider for a strike.
It's 2-1 to Hairston with 2 men on. And Scott hits the slider into center field, and that falls for a base hit. Torres being waved around third. Kemp's throw will go to third base. Scott Hairston with an RBI single, and now it's 6-4 LA, and the Mets have the tying runs on base. So Hairston comes through with a big hit, his first at bat of the night.
So there you got a pitcher making an adjustment. Missed 2 sliders bad out and down. And then he comes underneath it a little bit, throws that flat, get me over slider, which is a good pitch to hit for a hitter.
RBI number 36 for Scott Hairston. That's going to be all for Lindblom. After giving up 2 walks and a run-scoring hit, he'll take his exit. Sean Tollison will come in with the tying runs on base. Call to the bullpen brought to you by Verizon Wireless. With Mets memorabilia from Verizon at Mets.com/Verizon Sweeps. We'll be right back. Four batters, got only one of them out, and gives way to another rookie, Sean Tollison.
Well, this is a young man that was going to be a first-round pick when he was in high school. Blew out his elbow, had Tommy John surgery. He's got a herky-jerky motion. Good slider, good sinking fastball.
Came out of Baylor University, a 30th round pick by the Dodgers in 2010, which is amazing in that the Mets have a 30th round pick in their bullpen in Josh Edgin from 2010, and the Dodgers have a 30th round pick from the same year in their bullpen. What are the odds? So Tollison in to pitch to Ruben Tejada with the tying runs on base and 1 out. Mets were down 6-2. They got a run in the 5th. They have 1 home in the 6th as they climb uphill. Tejada tonight 1 for 3. He scored 2 runs. And he hits the first pitch in the air to left, pretty deep, but plenty of room for Gwynn. And he's there to grab it, and the runners hold 2 down. So Tejada, who does not have a home run this year, trying out his 3-run homer swing and coming up well short. Now there are 2 out of the inning. Daniel Murphy having a big night. He's got a single and 2 doubles tonight. He's taken the ball to the opposite field all 3 times. Driven in 1, he scored 1, and with his 3 for 3 night, he's got his average up to 296 for the year. So Tollison's thrown 1 pitch, gotten 1 out, and now Murphy goes after the first pitch and fouls off the fastball.
And this is a Dodger bullpen that has 8 guys in the pen and only 1 left-hander, and that's Scott Albert.
And he's not even a lefty specialist. Gets righties out better than lefties. Dodgers have an extra reliever because Chad Billingsley went on the disabled list. Javi Guerra was on bereavement for a few days, but he is back, and they sent down Stephen Fife, who had filled in for Billingsley as a starter, so they've got 4 starters and 8 relievers right now. Kenley Jansen is their closer. Now the most embarrassing moment of the year last week.
That's right.
0-2 now to Murphy. And he gets tied up. Did he go around? No swing. 1-2. Kenley Jansen allowing a tying steal of home. And then when the ball went to the backstop on Jansen's throw, the go-ahead run scored against the Padres. It was the game Harang started last week. Here's the 1-2 to Murphy. And he golfs one down the left field line, slicing. Foul.
Jansen's defense, he didn't cover the plate because the umpire called him out.
It's true. But the reason why Everett Cabrera tried it in the first place is because Jansen had his back to it.
Yeah.
Kicking at the rubber. So he sprinted home. Here's the 1-2 coming to Murphy. And a fastball off the outside corner. Good eye. 2-2.
See how he changed his arm angle there? Got more on top with that fastball away.
I noticed one thing, this Dodgers staff for tonight, they like to pitch away. They haven't come in very often.
Well, you got to see another slider down and in that Murphy almost went after before. I think he's going to try it again.
2 out, 2 on, 2-2 to Murphy with the Mets down by 2. And Murph goes down on the slider. And trainer chases him, makes the toss, side retired. So Tollison comes in and gets 2 big outs. Mets settle for 1 and get within 2. It's 6-4. To lead. The Mets have fought uphill with a run in the 5th and a run in the 6th. Now we go to the 7th as we check out our Kia drive around the majors. Michael Morse and Ryan Zimmerman with 3-run homers for the Nats, and they're up 9-4 on the Braves with Steven Strasburg on the front end. Tim Lincecum pitching well tonight. Giants lead the Phils 7-2. That game's in the 8th. Matt Kemp leads off for the Dodgers in the 7th inning, bluffing a bunt, takes a strike. He's not going to bunt,
no.
Is he? David Wright not buying it, staying back at third base. Kemp delivered the keynote tonight with a 2-run homer in the 1st inning. His 14th of the year. That's 14 homers in only 146 at bats, by the way. He had 12 home runs in the month of April.
1 every 10. That's something.
It'll be Kemp, Ethier, and Rivera for the Dodgers in the 7th. And Kemp fouls it back. 0-2.
Fastball in, boy, he just turned.
It's a pretty simple but elegant swing, I'll tell you that.
Remember 2 years ago when Matt Kemp had such a disappointing year for the Dodgers? It looked in the couple of years prior as though he was going to be the breakout superstar in the National League. And then 2 years ago, his game just suffered in all areas. He had been a Gold Glove center fielder, but all of a sudden he was not a good outfielder anymore. He was, I don't even know how to say it. I don't think petulant is the word, but he was just underperforming his capabilities. And then rededicated himself last year and had a year to behold as he takes a call, third strike. Kemp out looking for the first out of the inning. We were talking about David Wright before, and reassessing and rededicating. You really have to look at Kemp and give him a lot of credit for having really done the same thing with a career that could have gone in the other direction.
There's a phrase in baseball. You'll look at someone and go, boy, that guy was a real dog. And that's kind of the year he had. It looked like he was dogging it. But he came back, and in the offseason, he worked extremely hard, and now he's made himself into one of the better players in the game. Top 5 at least.
Here's Andre Ethier, and he takes wide.
And guys, I think someone who deserves an awful lot of credit is Davey Lopes. He really took to Kemp and tried to get with him on a lot of different things. And Kemp, I remember a conversation I had with him last year here in New York. He was raving about Davey Lopes and the time that he took to go over certain things with him and just believe in him. So obviously Kemp's had the talent, but I guess maybe sometimes you need that right connection. And Lopes, I think, pushed him there.
Right now, Kemp and the umpire, Jim Reynolds, are having a disagreement.
Kemp called out on strikes a moment ago and clearly not happy about the call. 1-1 to Ethier. And he takes it just off the plate. 2-1.
Davey Lopes, everywhere he's gone and coached now after a brilliant career, the one stat, and he has plenty of them, but in 1985 for the Chicago Cubs, he stole 46 bases at 40 years old. That to me is hard to believe. But he not only had the speed. For anyone who watched the Dodgers in those days or was a fan of Davey Lopes, he was almost a science to him, how to steal bases and read pitchers and get a good jump and when to run.
Well, he was a hard-nosed player.
Yep.
Always ran everything out hard. Leadoff hitter for the Dodger team. Back in the
2-2
80s.
to Ethier is outside. The Mets bullpen has been performing well tonight. 3 1/3 scoreless innings. And that's inside. Ethier checking with the home plate umpire Jim Reynolds because Kemp had just been called out belatedly a batter before. So he's on base for the 3rd time tonight. So 1 out and 1 on. And now Juan Rivera coming up.
Looks like Ramirez has got some pop on his fastball tonight, Ronnie.
Yeah, he's throwing it. He's always had some pop. I think he just, for whatever reason, he fell in love with a slider and changeup, and those are good pitches too, but everything's got to work off his good fastball.
So now he faces Juan Rivera with a man on. Rivera 0 for 3 tonight, lined out to left his last time up. Ethier not much of a stolen base threat. Well, Cincinnati Reds won again tonight. They're sitting on top in the National League Central. Homer Bailey, has he kicked it in gear?
Yeah, he has.
8 innings, 6 hits, 10 strikeouts tonight. Beat the Brewers 3-1. We saw Bailey pitch here earlier this season. He was very impressive.
He's really turned it around. He's a guy that was supposed to be a #1 3 or 4 seasons ago. Couldn't handle it then, but is handling it now.
Well, they probably brought him up a little too early when you come right down to it. He's still a very young pitcher. And pitching in a tough pitcher's ballpark. There goes Ethier. The pitch is high. Tolley's throw is high. Murphy with the tag, but he's safe. And Ethier has just his second stolen base of the year.
Well, he was out by a mile. The throw's there, but the throw faded into right field. The right side of second base. It's a good pitch to throw. And the throw is just way off and too high.
My feeling is that the last few times, boy, he could have called him out.
Take him on the elbow maybe before his foot got to the bag.
As Murphy arguing with the second base umpire.
So you got one player on each side upset with a particular umpire. Jim Joyce and Murphy having a conversation.
Here's the throw. Does he get him on the elbow before he tags the base?
Maybe so.
Yes.
1-1 to Rivera with a runner in scoring position. He fouls back that fastball. 1-2.
Big cut.
Now Ramirez ahead 1-2. And Rivera bangs one toward the middle. That's a base hit. Ethier to third. He's being waved in. Here comes Torres. Throw to the plate. Tolley on a hop. Can't make the grab. And Ethier able to score. Down to second goes Rivera. It's 7-4 LA. So Ethier stealing second, getting the call, and coming in on the base hit by Rivera to give the Dodgers a 3-run lead.
Well, Tim Wallach, the third base coach for the Dodgers, very aggressive here. Tolley makes this play. He's out.
Short hopped him though, didn't it?
Tough chance. Ball fading into the line.
Ethier never touched the base either.
And comes back to touch it.
Not Andres Torres' best throw. And Ethier, who is not a speed demon, able to steal the base and come around to score. Terry Collins is going out to the mound to see about Ramon Ramirez, and the trainer, Ray Ramirez, is coming out as well, so they've got a concern about Ramon.
Well, he's backing up the play, and I don't know if he strained something going to retrieve the baseball. But it looks like it's really much to do about nothing.
Whatever it is, he's satisfied Terry that he's okay.
That's a big run. That's a big run to drive in right there off of Rivera's bat. And it was an accurate throw, would get the runner.
Tolley's coming back now to get the baseball. I was hoping that Ramirez could get it back to him, but he couldn't.
Would have been interesting if Josh had caught that ball. Even if he couldn't have tagged Ethier, they would have had to race for the plate because Ethier missed the plate the first time. But that's a moot point. So the Dodgers back up by 3 runs.
It's also a play where Ethier could have really clocked them.
So now Jerry Hairston, who's 2 for 3 tonight, and he takes below the knees.
See, he can come in and hammer Josh because the ball's coming in, and Josh would never make the play. He can knock him into the next county. And you see the bump right there. Ethier didn't like that. Hang with him.
Hairston half swing, and he went around 1-1. And of course, with that throw coming home, Rivera able to move into scoring position, so a base hit could score another run for the Dodgers. Well, we've certainly seen tonight the difference between the offense the Mets saw from LA when they went out to Dodger Stadium and the one they're sporting now. Fly ball left center, and over comes Bay, and that's the second out. Let's go back to that stolen base by Ethier that led to the run and check it out on the Coors Light Freeze Cam.
It's kind of tough to tell.
He's definitely got him there on the belt buckle if he missed him on the elbow.
Just a matter where his feet were at that time.
Now here's Luis Cruz, who hit his first big league home run back in the third, a 2-run shot that pretty much sealed Johan Santana's night. Santana gave a pair of 2-run homers, the first one to Kemp. That one you might expect. The one to Cruz a little bit more surprising. 28-year-old career minor leaguer with his first big league home run. And boy, did he celebrate. I mean, not in a bad way, but he just was so happy.
So animated. You know, he couldn't wait to tell everyone what pitch it was, where it was.
Came in his 196th major league at bat. And Ramirez gets ahead of him 1-2. By the way, speaking of shortstops coming up from the minor leagues, the Mets lost Omar Quintanilla today. Traded him to Baltimore for cash considerations. Quintanilla, who did some fine work for the Mets when Ruben Tejada was out, goes to Baltimore, where they've got Brian Roberts and Robert Andino on the disabled list, so he may get a chance to play.
Some second base, right?
Well, the Yankees sure put some separation in that division, didn't they?
But the Orioles are right there, half game out of the wild card going into the ninth. Here's the 1-2, and Cruz goes down swinging. So Ramirez has his third strikeout, but the Dodgers steal a run and lead 7-4 at the 7th inning stretch. The Lower East Side Girls Club expand their program. The $5,000 grant was used to create 2 new teams, opening up free access for even more girls. To find out more about their story and those of past recipients, go to sny.tv/playball. David Wright leads off in the home 7th inning and hits the first pitch on the ground to short to Luis Cruz. 1 pitch and 1 out for Sean Tollison in the home 7th. Tollison came on to get the final 2 outs in the 6th after the Mets got the tying runs on base. Restored some order, got another run to work with, and now LA up by 3. Ike Davis is 0 for 2 in a sacrifice fly tonight.
So, to the music of the Rolling Stones on their 50th anniversary.
It's only 50.
Can you believe that?
How old does that make Mick and Keith? Does that mean they're in their 70s?
No, probably they got together early, right?
Yeah.
And Charlie Watts has looked old since 1985.
That's all right. That's my soul man.
I forgot who was the original. Really started the group was the original lead guitar player.
Brian Jones.
Brian Jones died in a swimming pool.
Yep.
Ron Wood's done a nice job.
Oh, certainly.
Hooked in the air to right center field, and that's going to fall for a base hit for Davis. So Ike has his first hit of the night. A one-out single in the 7th.
No, Ike. Always reaching, it looks like to me. I just wish you could just bring it back a couple split seconds.
Justin Turner was out on deck to be the pinch hitter, but he's gone back into the dugout, and now Jordani Valdespin is going to come up instead. So with a man on base, Turner's going to use his last left-handed pinch hitter. He used a lot of bench early in this game. Neuenhuis was used as a pinch hitter back in the 3rd, and Cedeno in the 5th. Hairston came in a double switch in the 6th. So Terry's had to go to that bench early and often. He still has an extra man on that bench. He's got 6 bench players.
Turner and Nikias left on that bench, right?
So Valdespin will be the pinch hitter, batting for Ramon Ramirez. Nick is 69 next week. Keith is 68.
I am not 68. I'm 58.
Keith, who can play guitar.
Oh.
And has lived a lot harder than life than you. If that's possible.
It is.
Javi Guerra is up in the Dodger bullpen.
I pale next to him.
I'd love to see you guys spend an evening together.
Oh, I have.
Oh, you have?
At Elaine's one night. He's a character. I had a great time with him.
He lives up in my neck of the woods.
He has the little bones in his hair. He was actually very, very engaging. It was a fun night.
I haven't read his autobiography yet.
I have. It's amazing. Amazing.
I had a wonderful time with him. He was just an ordinary, regular guy.
It's amazing he could remember enough to write a 700-page tome.
Might have made some of it up. You never know.
It's good. It doesn't matter.
Here's Valdespin, who's got 3 pinch hit home runs this season, including the one against Tyler Clippard on Tuesday night. Now facing Sean Tollison, and he takes the fastball low. Valdespin coming off the bench to bat for Ramon Ramirez. Jason Bay is on deck with the Mets down 7-4 in the 7th. And knocked down in the dirt by Trainer, and it's 2-0. Another gem for Justin Verlander tonight, as the Tigers, who have been surging, win again. Verlander 8 innings, 4 hits. He's now 11-5 on the year. Beat the White Sox 4-2, so the Tigers are now only a half game out of first place. Here's the 2-0 to Valdespin, and he checks a swing, and it's a strike, 2-1. Well, we thought in spring training the Tigers might be the best team in the American League, and only now are they starting to play like
They
it.
got some time to prove it.
They've won 11 of their last 13, and now just a half game behind the White Sox. Here's the 2-1, and Valdespin takes inside, 3 balls and a strike. It's one of 3 series this weekend, matching first and second place teams in the same division. You got Texas and the Angels playing later. Texas up 6 games, and of course Washington and Atlanta, and that's up 9-4 in the 8th in that game. Washington 3.5 in front of Atlanta. Now the 3-1, and Valdespin lifts one out to left field. Back goes Gwynn to the warning track, back at the wall, leaping, and it's out of here! Jordani Valdespin does it again! An opposite field 2-run pinch hit home run to get the Mets within a run at 7-6. This kid provides something that the Mets have not had in a long time.
Well,
it's his 6th home run of the year, his 4th as a pinch hitter, and now it's a 7-6 Dodger lead.
I tell you what, you've got to find a spot for this kid to play.
6 home runs and only 80 at bats.
I thought he got under this ball. That's not a bad pitch.
He's got some pop, doesn't he?
That's impressive. Opposite field gap.
That's going to be all for Sean Tolleson. So Terry Collins opting for Valdespin. He comes through to get the Mets within a run. Tolleson exits. Javi Garrett coming in. 7-6 LA. We'll be right back. Jason Bay takes a strike from the new Dodger pitcher Javi Guerra.
21 saves as a rookie last season. That's second all time, although Saito has a record of 24.
Began the year as the Dodger closer, blew a couple of games early, lost the job to Kenley Jansen, also spent some time on the disabled list with a knee injury. 0-2 to Jason Bay. Let's check in with Kevin.
Talking to Jordani Valdespin today about his game, guys, and he said, I know I do some crazy things, but I can't change my personality on the field. That's the bottom line. You know, I'm different. I don't get nervous. He said, I'm trying to learn. I'm trying to respect the game, respect the guys, but I am who I am, and that's given him confidence in those situations, I think.
Well, the guy he is the guy who has tied a Mets club record for pinch hit home runs in a season. Danny Heap in 1983, Mark Carrion in 1989 had 4 pinch hit home runs in a season, and with 70 games to play, Valdespin has tied that record, and undoubtedly will stay in the game after pinch hitting. Here's the 1-2 to Bay, and he takes high from Guerra. I mean, it's been well documented. Valdespin has had problems throughout his professional career, just in terms of, you know, keeping on the straight and narrow, respecting authority, that kind of stuff. But you know what? There are enough solid citizens in that Mets clubhouse that shouldn't be a problem here. You know what I mean?
Yeah, I agree.
They can police
Just
the clubhouse.
Just stop any nonsense, and he'll produce on the field.
Bay is 0 for 2 and a walk tonight. And Jason drives a base hit into center. And the Mets have the tying run aboard. So after Valdespin got the Mets close with a pinch hit home run, Bay gets the tying run on base, and Andres Torres is coming up.
Fastball away.
He throws hard, Keith, but straight as an arrow.
Yep.
What about throwing his hand up? What's he thinking?
That would have been the worst thing that could have happened to him. So now Torres will bat. Bay, who will sneak a stolen base every now and again if you don't pay attention. Carrying the tying run at first base. Torres 0 for 2 and a walk tonight. And he takes a fastball for a strike.
Well, you know what? Even in the games that the last road trip, the Mets fought back. In a lot of those ball games, this team is fought back tonight. They're down one time 6-2. They're back in the hunt. They don't quit.
Torres shoots one foul and it's 0-2. There are your standings in the National League East. Nats are up big on the Braves, 9-4 in the 8th tonight. That's 7 games behind the East, 3.5 back of the second wild card spot. As you look at the Dunkin' Donuts standings, Phillies lost tonight, beaten by the Giants 7-2. 0-2 to Torres, and Andres watches low, 96 miles an hour from Guerra, a ball and 2 strikes.
And the Marlins are 2 outs away from losing up in Pittsburgh 4-3.
Pirates just keep on grinding, don't they? Pedro Alvarez and Neil Walker with home runs. And they get pretty good pitching every day. Now they've got Hanrahan on to try and close it. 1-2. Breaking ball fouled off. They've got Hanrahan facing Reyes with first and third and 1 out in a 1-run game. Mets have been behind every step of the way tonight. Bay at first and 1 out, and Guerra finally throws over. Jason has 2 stolen bases and 3 tries this year. Torres has hit 1 ball very hard tonight, lined out to Kemp in center field. And he goes down swinging. So Guerra takes care of Torres for the second out.
That's pretty good stuff right there.
Good slider down and in.
Good Lord.
Late break.
That's a tough one right there.
So 2 out. Bay still at first, and now Josh Tolley, who's 0 for 2 and a walk tonight. Tolley hitting 8th in the order. Scott Hairston is batting 9th. He's on deck. And Tolley hits one in the air to left. Drifting over is Gwynn, and he gets there to put it away and end the inning. Mets get closer. Jordani Valdespin comes off the bench and does what he's done so often. This time takes it the other way for a pinch hit 2-run homer. It's 7-6 LA after 7. stays in the game in left field. And Tim Burdack will come in. May comes out, and so Burdack hits in the 6th spot of the lineup.
Burdack gave up a few runs, 3 runs in his last 3 outings. 2 in that big game, of course, with the Beato wild pitch. Got the loss in that ball game.
Burdack pitched yesterday. Faced 2 batters, a strikeout, and then a ground ball that should have ended in the inning, but it was an error, and so Burdack did his job. Comes in here to face the 8, 9, and 1 hitters for the Dodgers in the 8th. Don Mattingly's team has been ahead from the jump tonight. Got a 2-run homer from Matt Kemp in the 1st, a 2-run homer from Luis Cruz in the 3rd. Santana gave up 6 runs and 7 hits over 3 innings. Mets were down 6-2. Cut it to 6-4. Dodgers added a run against Ramon Ramirez in the 7th, and that run now the difference in the game after Valdespin's 2-run homer. So Burdack faces the number 8 hitter Trainer, who's 0 for 3 tonight. Struck out twice and grounded out. And Trainer takes ball 1. John Roush next man up in the Mets bullpen. Tony Gwynn Jr. is batting 9th in the order. He's on deck. The pitcher's in the leadoff spot. He'd be 3rd in this inning. Taking high 2-0 to Trainer.
Just got to feel, Keith, if the bullpen can hold it here, Mets are going to score a run or 2.
But Burdack falls behind on Trainer, a very light hitter, 3-0.
Burdack's been struggling of late.
Well, he went through a year and a half of just facing lefties and then asked to face a few righties of late, and it's not worked out.
Early in the season, he was pitching virtually every day, usually facing just that one left-hand hitter. So we said Hanrahan came in 1st and 3rd, 1 out. Struck out Reyes, struck out Bonifacio, game over.
Wow.
Pirates beat the Marlins 4-3.
He's legit too.
So Pittsburgh stays a half game behind Cincinnati in that National League Central.
I bet you Washington wishes they hung on to him. To Hanrahan, they could have Clippard really in that setup role.
Well, that's where he's going to go now with Storen. But you mentioned Clippard, Storen, Hanrahan.
I mean, Hanrahan last year was as impressive a pitcher, not a closer, stuff that I've seen.
Yeah.
Right now, nobody matches the guy in Atlanta.
Oh gosh, yes. You're kidding?
I mean, Kimbrel is as close to unhittable as there is in the game right now.
He struck out David Wright in that 9th inning in Atlanta, and it just blew the ball by David, and a red hot David.
3-2 now to Trainer with Tony Gwynn Jr. on deck. Pulled down to 3rd, right on the backhand, has time to set and fire, and he gets him. Another terrific defensive play by David Wright, who's having a Gold Glove season.
Well, David's won Gold Gloves, and this is the finest third base I've seen him play in his entire career. Beautiful backhand. His throwing issues are over with. Nice play.
So 1 out and nobody on. Now Tony Gwynn Jr. up for the 2nd time. Hit a double that landed on the chalk down the right field line. His only time up. And he fouls it back. Tonight's Twisted But True Fact is brought to you by Twisted Tea, hard iced tea. How twisted can we get? Babe Ruth finished his career in Dodgers uniform. He was their first base coach in 1938. Of course, his last games as a player were in a Boston Braves uniform. Hit 3 home runs in a game. His final 3 home runs in his big league career. Juan Uribe is out on deck to bat for the pitcher, Guerra. And Gwynn watches a slider for a strike, 1-2. Beato gave the Mets 2 hitless innings. Ramirez worked 2 innings, allowed a run on 2 hits. Been a better job for the Mets bullpen tonight. Bullpen that started the night with a 5.03 ERA as a unit, the worst in the major leagues. One, two, and Gwynn lays off, and I guess it missed. 2-2. Andres Torres playing exceptionally shallow in center against Gwynn.
Well, he's got to know him from all that time in the National League West.
And he nubs one foul. Well, the way the Dodgers have been going, if they score 7 runs, they have to feel that it's a game they have to win. It's a team that just has not been scoring for the last month. 7-19 over the last 26 games. And now a full count. A couple of close pitches not going Burdak's way. And it's 3-2 to Gwynn. So Burdak's run full counts to each of his 2 hitters. 3-2 to Gwynn, and he taps it foul. And we'll do it again. Slider, strike 3 call, and Gwynn knew it. So after not getting a couple of close pitches, Burdak throws an outstanding pitch to get Gwynn looking. Let's head to the studio and check in with Chris Carlin for this game break.
Interesting, since we have Mike DeMuro here.
Right, he's the guy who made that strange call on the Dwayne Wise non-catch, and he's in the same position as he was that night at Yankee Stadium. This is Juan Uribe batting for the pitcher. Uribe, who's had himself a miserable time of it, hitting just 187 for the year and just 1 for his last 37. And he takes a breaking ball for a strike, 1-1.
It's interesting. He has only really one hitting style. Swing really hard in case you hit it. I mean, he just really flat out as hard as you can swing every time.
Mark Ellis would be next. And Burdak gets ahead of him 1-2. You know, Uribe had been the everyday third baseman, but no longer. Getting less and less playing time as the years gone along.
Well, he was part of that World Championship Giant team, and he was a big part of it.
Yeah, he parlayed it.
He cashed in, but he has not produced much for the Dodgers. And takes that big hack at a fastball. Toronto beat Boston tonight 6-1 after the Blue Jays made that 10-player trade with the Astros today, picking up Jay Happ and Brandon Lyon in that deal.
Jay Happ could be a nice compliment to that young pitching staff for next season.
Blue Jays started the day 3.5 out of the second wild card spot. Everybody's a contender. 1-2. Foul back. "22 teams are within 6.5 games of the second wild card spot."
And identifying your team as a contender or pretender, it's going to be the most difficult thing for all GMs around the league.
It leaves only 8 sure sellers. The Astros are one of them, and they got 4 prospects in that deal with Toronto today. Here's the 1-2. Uribe hits it in the air to right center field. Hit pretty well. Torres back, has it lined up, and makes the catch to retire the side. Burdak has a 1-2-3 inning. Mets will go back to work in the bottom of the 8th with Hairston to lead off, trailing by a run. wanted a Koufax fastball, but he got the wrong Koufax.
It worked out pretty good.
Yeah, it did.
Ronald Belisario comes in to try to protect a 1-run lead in the bottom of the 8th.
Well, Belisario is the setup man for Jansen, and he has outstanding stuff. Almost a strikeout per inning. There's a lot of walks, but you can see the batting averages against. He just does not give up many hits.
He does a great job as long as they allow him into the country.
It's a small problem.
He did not pitch all of last year because he couldn't get a visa because he had a cocaine conviction in Venezuela. And then recently, during the All-Star break, he went home to Venezuela and he had trouble getting back for the same reason. But he's back.
Throwing 95.
Exactly right. When he's on American soil, he's just fine. Scott Hairston up for the second time tonight. Delivered a base hit to drive in a run in the 6th inning. That cut the Dodger lead to 6-4. Dodgers added a run in the 7th, and Valdespin hit a 2-run pitch home run to make it 7-6. And now the Mets try to get even in the 8th. Off the corner to Hairston, and it's 2-1. Tejada and Murphy to follow. Wright would be up 4th in the inning.
This Belisario has some serious sinking action to his fastball.
Hairston chops one down to third. Charging is his brother Jerry, and the throw got him at first base. One Hairston throws out the other. Big play by Jerry Hairston for the first out.
Well, no hesitation on Hairston's part. Which Hairston? Jerry at third base. Came in hard charging. Used his glove, didn't barehand it. Nice scoop. Nice play all the way around.
That almost came out of Rivera's glove.
Barely had control of that baseball.
So 1 out and nobody on. Scott's right here thinking, come on. He did that to me when we were kids. He's the older brother.
They were going to have dinner tomorrow.
Here's Tejada, who's 1 for 4. And Ruben takes a strike. Check out the scoop at first base by Rivera.
Gets us right in the heel of the glove. Snow cone. Not a snow cone at the top, snow cone in the heel.
It's moving around. Yeah. The runner's safe, but it's stuck. Tejada bounces one. Cruz comes in and makes the running toss for the second out. So Belisario getting that sink and getting 2 weak ground balls. 2 out and nobody on. Our next SNY broadcast will be Monday night when the Nats come to town. Chris Young on the mound. 6:30 the coverage right here on SNY. Nats and Nats playing 3 more Monday, Tuesday nights and Wednesday afternoon. Next 2 days will be on Pix 11, 1 o'clock games with the Mets and Dodgers. Murphy tonight 3 for 4, a single, 2 doubles. He's driven in 1. He's scored 1. Trying to get on base for David Wright, who stands on deck. Belisario's retired the first 2 in the 8th, trying to set it up for Kenley Jansen, who is the Dodger closer. And Murphy takes inside for ball 1. Meanwhile, in Washington, the Braves just scored 4 runs in the 8th inning, a game they once trailed 9-0. It's now Washington 9, Atlanta 8, going to the bottom of the 8th.
It's Clippard in there.
Well, you think when he gave up the home run to Valdespin, he saw what happened in Philadelphia, throwing that changeup, and the Papelbon throwing the splitter.
That's right.
And he threw that changeup right down the pipe.
Got him out the next night on the changeup to end the game.
And
Murphy has his 4th hit of the night as he takes another one to left field. 4 for 5 for Murphy, and all 4 hits have gone the other way. He's aboard with the tying run, and David Wright coming to the plate.
Well, he's in a 2-hole table setter, and he has been spot on. Nicely done. Down on the way sinker. That's all you can do with it.
This is one time, Keith, that you as David maybe ought to look middle of the plate in and down, right? That's where you're going to get it from Belisario.
3rd 4-hit game of the season for Murphy, so a chance for Wright who drove in his 66th run of the year with a sacrifice fly back in the first. He's 0 for 2 and a walk tonight. And he takes a fastball for a strike from Belisario. Bobby Parnell gets up alongside John Roush now in the Mets bullpen, hoping there's a save opportunity for him. Mets have been behind all night long, trying to jump on Belisario with 2 out of the 8th. And right lays off, a ball and a strike. David's 0 for 3 against Belisario, but look at those late inning numbers for David this year.
Outstanding.
Murphy at first and 2 down. And Wright takes a whack and fouls it off.
There was your pitch. There was a hanging slider on a tee. And a great cut. And it just missed it. Got under it.
The rare times there's been much of a loop in David's swing this year. Here's the 1-2. In there for a call, strike 3. Got him looking at the fastball. And Belisario gets the Dodgers through the 8th inning. On to the 9th we go, 7-6 LA. Is brought to you by your Mercedes-Benz Tri-State dealers. Visit them on the web at searchmercedes.com. Let's answer our AT&T trivia question. We asked which 2 Dodgers have hit 4 home runs in a game. Well, that would be Sean Green and Gil Hodges.
I always get confused because the Los Angeles Dodgers are here, so I'm thinking of the 2 LA Dodgers, but of course, great Gil.
Sean had 19 total bases in that game. 4 home runs, a double and a single, and that's a major league record. John Roush on to pitch in the top of the 9th, trying to keep this a 1-run game. Roush pitched 2 nights ago in Washington, struck out a couple in a hitless inning. And Mark Ellis fouls it back, 1-1.
John starting to throw his fastball, but has been throwing his fastball for some time now with success. Has got his ERA under 4 now.
Ellis leading off. He's got Kemp and Ethier behind him. And there's a slider for a strike, and it's 1-2. Roush, the 5th Met pitcher of the night. Bullpen's done a nice job tonight. 5 innings, only 1 run allowed after Santana got routed again tonight. Santana for the 3rd straight start, giving up 6 or more runs. First time in his career that happened. First time for a Met in 10 years. But Beato, Ramirez, and Burdack have done a nice job. Ramirez gave up a run in the 7th after that stolen base by Ethier. That cost him. Looped in the air down the left field line, and that'll go foul. Still 1-2 on Ellis.
Notice that Ramirez did a lot of pitching inside. Roush just came inside with a fastball. Parnell in his last outing in Washington. Relievers are starting to get in on these hitters.
So Kenley Jansen up in the bullpen for the Dodgers. Well, that was the pointed statement that Terry Collins made after the Tuesday night loss in Washington about Parnell, but it really applies bullpen wide, that they had to start making the hitters more uncomfortable by throwing inside.
You can pitch to one side of the plate if you're a bullpen guy, if you've got extraordinary stuff. If you don't, you've got to pitch like any other pitcher does, both sides of the plate.
Game hasn't changed over all these years.
Breaking ball bounced foul by Ellis.
If you're Craig Kimbrell, you don't have to throw inside. If you're Hanrahan, you don't have to throw inside.
Only the mortals.
That's right.
Again, the 1-2. And Ellis goes down swinging on the slider. Good pitching by Roush. One down in the top of the 9th. Let's check in with the studio. Chris Carlin, Bobby Ojeda. See what's coming up on WB Mason post-game live. All right, guys, now Matt Kemp, who got the whole thing started tonight with a 2-run homer off Santana in the first inning, his 14th of the year. Since then, he's walked and been called out on strikes twice. Swinging at the first pitch this time as he fouls it off. After that second strikeout in the 7th inning, he had some long distance words with the home plate umpire Jim Reynolds. Andre Ethier waits on deck.
It's always strange when you're screaming at the umpire and you have to go up and hit, isn't it?
Well, you hope they have short memories.
That's why the catchers never argue when they're hitting.
How many umpires you met with a short memory?
Yeah, but you always know who you can. You always know who you can beef with and who you can't.
Okay.
Now, there are some that will hold a grudge.
Nothing but breaking stuff to Kemp, and it's 1-2. In the bottom of the 9th, the Mets will have Davis, Valdespin, and the pitcher's spot, which probably means Justin Turner, up against Kenley Jansen. Valdespin already with a home run tonight as a pinch hitter. So Roush trying to keep this a 1-run game and give the Mets a chance in a game where they fought uphill all night. Kemp lines one into right field for a base hit. So Kemp with 2 strikes, taking one the other way, and the Dodgers have a 1-out base runner. Kemp's second hit of the night.
And that's why Kemp is hitting up there in the David Wright altitudes of in the 350s. Good hitting with 2 strikes.
It's been a good night for Andre Ethier. A double and 2 walks. One of those against Santana, forced in a run. He also had that key stolen base in the 7th inning and scored on Juan Rivera's hit. That run right now is the difference in this game. Mentioned that Texas Anaheim series starting tonight. 1-1 in the second. Elvis Andrus with a home run. Just his second of the year. It's Jared Weaver tonight, right?
Yes.
That's unlikely. Kemp only has 2 stolen bases this year. Of course, he had the hamstring injury that knocked him out. He came back for 2 games and it knocked him out again. So that's cut down on his running a little bit. And Ethier takes off the plate for ball 1. Juan Rivera waits on deck. 2-0 now to Ethier. Do we have a wave going in this?
We do.
Have we ever had a wave at Citi Field before?
It's the first.
I remember.
That was an everyday thing after Shea in the 80s run.
So was the Macarena.
That's right.
It's the 2-0. And there's a call, strike 2-1.
Ball should be put away.
The curly shuffle.
Now we can keep that.
Curly shuffle was great.
It was wonderful.
Here's the 2-1. And Ethier takes a strike with an off-speed pitch, 2-2. So Roush battles back to get even. Ethier 0 for 4 in his career against Roush. We would love to get a double play ball here. Kemp at first and 1 out. Dodgers 7, Mets 6, ninth inning. 2-2 to Ethier. And he takes it high on a full count. Roush probably didn't love the fact that the wave was going past home plate as he was trying to throw that pitch. So now it's 3-2. Let's see if Don Mattingly has Kemp running here. Not going, and Ethier goes down on strikes. 2 out. So Roush has fanned 2 in the inning. Kemp remains at first with 2 down, and here's Juan Rivera, who drove in a run with a 7th inning single. At the time, it put the Dodgers up 7-4. Now it's 7-6.
Again, watch out for the stolen base. Keep throwing over.
And Rivera pops one up. Should be easy for Ike Davis. And he puts it away to retire the side. Mets will come to bat in the last of the ninth against Kenley Jansen. Jordani Valdespin will get another crack. He's already got a 2-run homer tonight. Mets down by a run as they come up in the bottom of the ninth. It's only New York sports tonight after the post game. Highlights from around the National League East. Preview of tomorrow's game, and Bart Scott stops by. Geico Sports Night after the post game right here on SNY. The former minor league catcher Kenley Jansen comes out to try and close it for the Dodgers.
Look at his numbers, Keith. 65 strikeouts and 43 2/3 innings pitched. Only 16 out of 21 saves. 16 walks. It's only 16 out of 21 saves, but he has just really been thrown into this position.
Got his first big league save against the Mets a couple of years ago in just his second major league appearance. In his first 100 innings in the major leagues, Jansen had 167 strikeouts. That's second all time. Number one, Craig Kimbrell at 170 in his first 100 innings.
And he's second in strikeouts. Number one, strikeouts of relievers, Craig Kimbrell this season.
Ike Davis leads off in the last of the ninth. Mets down a run, and Davis takes a fastball for a strike. Jansen with that good cut fastball. Jordani Valdespin watching in the on-deck circle. Justin Turner with a bat, ready to pinch hit behind him. Davis 1 for 3 tonight. And that one misses. Ball and a strike. Kenley Jansen, the 6th Dodger pitcher of the night. The starter Aaron Harang is still pitcher of record. He went 5 innings. Dodger bullpen has given up 3 runs in 3 innings of work. One and 1 to Davis, and Ike swings and misses at the cutter. 1 and 2.
No. Upstairs cutter. Ike a low ball hitter. Missed that one by a foot. I don't think he picked it up.
Now Davis has to find out of a hole leading off the bottom of the ninth. And Ike tries to hold. Did he go? No. Stopped it in time. Mike DeMuro with the call. It's 2 and 2.
I don't think Ike's picking him up on his windup, on his stretch, I should say, his delivery.
It's so easy, free and easy. Slow windup, and then 93.
The cutter looked like it was rising. Now the 2-2. Struck him out. So Jansen takes care of Ike Davis for the first out of the inning.
He threw that one right by him. This has plate too. Lots of plate.
Jansen just channeling Mo Rivera, right?
That's what it looks like. 1 out and nobody on, and now Valdespin, who got the Mets within a run with a pinch hit home run in the 7th. His 4th pinch hit home run of the season, tying a Mets club record. Now his 2nd at bat of the night after staying in the game in left field. 80 at bats, 6 big league home runs for Valdespin as he faces Jansen here in the ninth. And he takes that cutter for a strike.
He is right out of same page as Rivera is right. Mariano all the way.
Justin Turner on deck to pinch hit. Well, a cutter is not a great thing for a catcher, but it's a terrific thing for a closer. Jansen started out his life as a catcher, has found his way to the mound and found success. Wheel inside, a ball and a strike.
Well, you can see right here, as you can see, we're going to show you the availability, who's left.
Just Turner and Nikias. Mets had to go to the bench very early tonight.
You can see Valdespin really crowds the plate and really dives out over the plate.
First contact the Mets have made against Jansen. Can you believe that?
Wow.
The Braves were down 9-0 in that game, and they've just taken the lead in the top of the ninth. Wow.
Oh, the Strasburg jinx. They keep taking them out early. Take him out, limit his innings.
He gave up the first 4 runs tonight. The bullpen's given up 6. 1-2 to Valdespin, and a check swing foul. A Michael Bourne 2-run triple against Tyler Clippard, putting the Braves in front.
Clippard has been coughing it up of late.
It's been a bad week for him, that's for sure. Jansen trying to put away Valdespin. 1 out, bottom of the 9th. And Jordani bangs one on the ground to third. Hairston right at the bag. And the wide throw goes down the line. Valdespin to second base. So Jerry Hairston Jr., who made a terrific play against his brother Scott in the last inning, this time makes a horrible throw, and Valdespin's at second with the tying run.
Well, the Dodgers now the second error of this ball game. Made one in the first. That was Hairston. That cost a run. Mets are hopeful they can capitalize on this. They had him 2 outs. Really had a little more time.
Valdespin's speed make him rush that throw a little bit?
Absolutely.
Well, they're giving Jordani credit for an infield hit, which I don't think they should, because a good throw would have had him easily.
Absolutely.
But they're calling it a single and an error. In any event, Justin Turner now will bat for the pitcher. And Turner has been the best the Mets have had with runners in scoring position the last 2 years. Looking to pick up Valdespin from second with the tying run. And he takes a strike.
And just tell by the hitters how they're reacting. They're not reacting on the same time that Jansen's throwing the pitch.
I think he's got a very deceptive delivery.
Yeah.
Andres Torres waiting on deck. Tying run at second and 1 out. And Turner, late swing foul ball. 0-2. Solid 400 with runners in scoring position this year, 350 last year. He's just had the knack. But here he has to fight from behind in the count. Wynn, Kemp, and Ethier in the outfield for the Dodgers, playing fairly deep for the situation. But I guess the idea is not to allow the winning run to get in scoring position.
It's not only that they've been playing deep the entire game. That's the kind of defense they have.
Now it's 0-2 to Turner. And Justin takes up and in.
And that's a good pitch right there. Because Turner likes to set up and go the opposite field.
The problem with this pitcher when you play deep with the outfield is that you're not going to make a lot of great contact. So there's going to be a lot of bats shattered and balls off the end of the bat.
Turner trying to put it in play and fouls it off. Well, they got Rivera, the first baseman, playing well off the line against Turner, who likes to shoot that hole on the right side.
I don't like the fact that they've got the second baseman, Ellis, holding Valdespin on, and you've got to hold Valdespin on because he's goofy enough to try to steal third. You had the shortstop hold him on. Hold him tight.
Turner hanging tough at 1-2. And he goes down swinging on the high fastball. 2 out.
That was the pitch. Stay inside on Turner and struck him out. Good pitch.
It's the first time we've seen someone in an RBI situation pitch Turner in. The first I can remember.
So now the Mets, who have fought uphill all night long, are down to their final out. And it's left to Andres Torres. Torres is 0 for 3 and a walk tonight after getting at least a hit in each of the first 6 games out of the All-Star break.
I think because of the way this guy throws, look away and try to hit it in that hole.
Despite his experience in the NL West, Torres only has 1 career at bat against Jansen, 0 for 1.
Well, they're going to leave Valdespin alone now at second base, and I agree 100%. You just got to keep the ball on the infield here.
Torres takes a strike with that cutter, 0-1. If Andres can keep it going, Josh Tolley would be next. Oh, 1 to Torres, and Andres pops it up. The shortstop Cruz trailing out to Cole, and the ball game is over, and the Dodgers hang on to win it. The Mets, who fought uphill all night, come up a run shy despite Valdespin's heroics, and the Dodgers take the opening game of the series 7-6.
Well, each team with 10 hits. Mets fell behind early. Santana did not have it, only went 3 innings. Down 6-2, but in like true Met fashion this year, this team battled back and got it within 1 run, but just fell short. Too much Kenley Jansen in the 9th.
Well, in the offensive side, just like you said it, Gary, Valdespin with a big home run, 4 hits by Daniel Murphy tonight, and the bullpen has to give him a lot of credit in a start that Santana only went 3 innings, 6 innings, 1 run.
What's turning into an alarming stretch for Santana, 3 straight starts allowing 6 runs or more. First time a Met pitcher's done that in 10 years. As you look at tonight's Time Warner Cable game summary, Jordani Valdespin did his part, got the Mets close, but the Dodgers win it 7-6. We'll come back with more from Citi Field in just a moment.